Welcome to the IcyData podcast. Today is July 3rd, and today we have Lang, Mike, and Assassin, the Flyers ranker, as our guest. We'll be discussing the draft, a bit of the Memorial Cup, new coaches and front office hires, and finally the craziness that has been all the trades and signings the past week plus.
And an offer sheet.
And an offer sheet today.
As was promised.
Promised. As it was foretold by the existing of the offer sheet process many, many eons ago.
Well, it's like every year everybody's like, "Oh man, this might be the summer where we finally see a major offer sheet." And aside from like St. Louis and Edmonton recently, it's been like, no.
There was stuff with Carolina. And there was stuff with Carolina a few years ago.
So that was like 5 years ago now, I feel like, or something like that.
Yeah. About that.
It was recent-ish.
Right after the cup. Or a cup run by the Canadians.
Yeah,
all right,
and that was also the retaliation to the Aho offer sheet, like 5 or so years before that too.
Yeah.
First, let's go over the draft that recently happened. One that had a lot of breaks for trades. Bullhorn was going off a lot. In fact, by my count, every pick between 15 and 31 had been traded except for the Penguins pick.
If you want to see our coverage before the draft from like the day before, the last episode we recorded was going over that the night beforehand.
The one thing I thought when watching the draft this year was that like this draft would have been incredible 10 years ago. Because like that many trades would have been insane to see as somebody watching the draft live.
Yeah.
But in the like modern era on Twitter, you'll hear from like Chris Johnson or somebody about like Vegas is sending like X like the Rangers for like pick like 25 an hour or two before we get the announcement on stage.
Yeah, that was. I also like there was no. I mean, I'm sure there was no fanfare for the people in the venue either, because like they have phones. So
yeah, like it's one of the reasons why I never tend to want to watch it in the draft live, last year being an exception. But it's just like, it's not, everything will either be talked about in our own group already, right, or I'll find out shortly after it happens, because it's not like it's just going to make a big deal changer for a game that's going to happen tomorrow, because it's the all season.
Right.
Well, watching the draft live also has kind of gone downhill, I think since the Vegas Sphere. Like the Sphere was like perfect. It was like the best like idea I think the NHL possibly came up with. They executed on it fantastic. And then ever since, like watching the first round especially has been like awful, because they've dragged it on for too long, downtime and like whatnot between picks. It's just getting like worse and worse, it felt like, since then.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know what they do about, because they can't ask the insiders not to post anything, because then somebody else is just going to do it.
It's their jobs. I don't blame them for doing their job. It's just their job also does spoil things a bit.
Yeah, like you could ask them to, I mean, Elliot Friedman was at the venue. You could ask him to like do announcements there, but it's like somebody else is still going to be out there to post it, to try and get a scoop. So I'm not entirely sure what they do about it. I
think that's probably just like a sign of like how like things are changing. Things are changing. Like
I think
from,
the only thing
how they were 10 years ago.
I think the only thing they could do is go back to like what they were doing years ago, where like, well, all the teams are in the same location. They all have their tables, and you can even go one step further, where like they're not in the venue where the draft is happening, but they're locked in a giant conference room in an event center somewhere else that each team only has 5 members of their team is allowed in, and like that's it.
Like
that's going back to the 90s, early 90s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, back in Montreal, and they used to just host it in what was the hotel? I remember the name, but I remember it's just the same place every year before they started making it a spectacle.
Yeah, hopefully no one has a laptop battery that dies. That would be really embarrassing for a team.
I was actually at the draft in 2019, and in Vancouver, Jack Hughes draft.
Mm-hmm.
I remember day one was very boring, but day two was a lot of fun because they brought out like some of the Canucks players. They brought out signings. I remember Quinn Hughes was doing signings because he was like there. He had just played, I think, less than 10 games for the Canucks prior season. So he was signing stuff. His brother was there.
Back when everyone in Vancouver liked Quinn Hughes.
Yeah. I remember people taking the cover of the Hockey News, which was Jack Hughes, and trying to get Quinn to sign it. He was looking. He was like, no.
I
That's
don't
not
blame
me.
for that. I wouldn't sign anything of my brother on it unless it was like something for my brother.
He was also doing photos, and the Canucks draft pick. I remember his name. He was he's now playing for the Oilers. He went 10th overall. Like literally, he went 10th overall, and then you just see the stadium emptying. It's like, what's going on? Vasily Podkolzin.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we saw him. We got some photos with him. I also met some of the other drafted players. I had just missed Alexei Protas. I ran into Trent Miner because he was a Vancouver Giants player, so I ran into him.
Mm-hmm.
The second day, they just opened up the concourse. You just had like players walking around.
That's
I
cool.
think I showed
if the
one of the
draft
photos.
was hosted at like UBS or maybe even MSG, even though I hate the place, like I could see myself going to it there, but it's like outside of the train ticket to get there, I don't want to spend any more extra than the event costs itself.
Well, so the one thing I'm like, I've given thought about like going to like the drafts in person myself too, especially since I like follow the draft like in prospects like throughout the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's a long event, and it's one of those things where it's like if you're young, it's like you're there like the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's like I know there's been some talk about like the 2027 draft and where that'll be, and I heard Philly was a name that was thrown out there by somebody about that. But I legit don't know if I would go if it was in Philly or not, despite like being close enough that I could.
Yeah, because you're not in Philly itself. Obviously, you don't need to say where, but you're not in Philly itself, so it's going to be a bit of a chore regardless. And then you're going to be getting out of there at like midnight to come home. And
Well,
who knows
that
what
would
time
be
you're...
probably like day one. Like day two would be slightly different, but like
Still.
yeah.
Day two is very much boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Day one is when they roll the spectacle out. Day two is like okay, like you're on the clock now. Like let's get this going.
Business needs to be done. There's a task that needs to be done.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of the draft, this year's draft was quite interesting. Keaton Vierhoff.
Yeah, that was kind of a surprise. He kind of dropped a little bit.
Yeah, literally every other defenseman, like of the big five, I thought he was going to be one or two, but they went Axon Rudolph because the big debate had been Vierhoff and Reed being the first two off the board, and then Buffalo stealing Chicago's fourth round pick,
Yeah.
Jackson Rudolph.
Well, so the whole thing is really funny because like the top there was a set of like the top defensemen throughout the whole year, and people talk obviously about like as you mentioned Reed versus like Verhoff versus like even like Smits at times, but like Rudolph was kind of like very firmly in that like second tier but below them. So Buffalo really like threw everything out of whack when they took Rudolph at like fourth overall there.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm really curious.
One thing, can you guys hear me?
If the Leafs,
I can hear you.
Okay,
yeah.
my power just went out for a second.
Love that.
No rolling blackouts in New York City.
I did see the like flash on your screen. And I was like, what was that?
That was
if the Leafs had
for a second.
If the Leafs had known if Keaton Verhoff was going to drop to 9, if they would have made a deal for that 9th pick, because that was the big rumor, right? That the Leafs were looking to move either a Cowan or a Nyes for another pick in the top 10. If they'd known Keaton Verhoff was going to drop to 9, if they would have been more willing to make that trade with the Sharks.
Well, so I think Verhoff is one of those like interesting things where a lot of people I think of him as the like promise 1D that will come to fix you, but also he as D mentioned, like he did fall throughout the year as like the flaws of his game became a bit more obvious to everybody that was like watching. So like I could see how that move would like pay off, but like Matthew Nice is like a really really good player. So even then I don't know if that would be a smart move for like Toronto or not.
Yeah, it would be more than just the 9th pick for sure. I mentioned it last week.
It was ninth
Nyes
and
is
another
Nyes
pick.
is the type of player that we don't see a lot of in the NHL at the moment. You know, big power forward. I mean, he put up 60 points in what I would consider to be a down year last year.
Mhm.
And he's young.
And yeah, he's still very young and he's cost controlled at a very, very comfortable like 7.5 or 7 million or something like that.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed power forwards.
There's somebody like sitting here listening to this that's like 7.5 thinking that's cheap, and they're like, what are you talking about? And it's like you're not in touch with like how the NHL is these days. Like
Yeah.
all these contracts coming out must like the sticker shock on these is like massive, but the cap going up is changing everything.
Yeah, 30%. 30% is what we were talking about, and the floor is going up with it as well, if not more than the cap is going up.
Yeah.
So
that's also kind of why I liked some of the moves that Chayka made, because all of the deals that he made were 2 years.
Mhm.
Okay, with the exception of Bobrovsky being 3, but like all of these deals were just 2 years. The monetary value doesn't really matter at that point.
Yeah.
Really, really easy to move them if there's 1 year left, and for whatever reason you need to eat salary.
That's what they say. Even if you need to retain contract value.
Yeah, it's just
Well,
it's
that's
just 1
nice
year.
to discuss. Let's get to that when we go to the front office hires and coach.
We're a little too excited to talk
Back
about
to the
Toronto.
draft.
Yeah.
My 2 cents on Keaton Vierhoff is that he looked green. I agree with Assassin on that, but he was also playing D1 hockey at the age of 17.
Yeah.
Gavin McKenna had the same issue in the first half of the year. It just took him until January to really figure it out.
Yeah, and I think the growing consensus is like goalies take a few more years.
Yep.
So do D, right? Like it's
Yeah.
a forward can enter the league. They might have like defensive liabilities, but like they can still put pucks in the net. Defenseman has to adjust to both speed and like gap control, and then a goalie's timing completely changes, and so it's like, the of the like 5D that went in the top 10, I think it was 5. Like I really believe that if the Leafs had known that one of them was going to drop to 9, regardless of which one, because I think all 5 are really solid bets. I'm curious if they would have made moves.
Well, I mean, I think the even funnier thing is like San Jose is the one that got Verhoff, and it's like let's just take a look at who San Jose has like drafted over the past few years from like defense, right? Because they just took Verhoff. They had Sam Dickinson in 2024, right? They had who is it? There's a name I'm forgetting.
You had Misa last year.
Well, Misa is a forward.
Okay, I thought you were just talking about their drafting for whole, not for any particular thing.
I think I'm thinking of a guy that was like not just like recently drafted, but like they've got like so much on like forward and defense already.
I got a page for you to look at.
Like, yeah, like why is San Jose even like allowed to like keep adding more? Like they've already got everything they need.
They came in with very little right D.
Sounds familiar.
That is, yeah.
It's a growing problem in the NHL. Just like,
actually, the Flyers don't actually have that much of a need for right D, and I think it's hilarious actually for once.
A lefty, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't have any right-handed defensemen. I was talking about it last week. They took 2 in the first round. They got Ryan Lynn, and they got Vierhoff. Yeah. That's your one and first and second pairing D for the next 10, 12 years.
Are there any other like picks in that first round that we're surprised about?
I am genuinely shocked that the Kings traded back. They were at 17, and they traded back to 19. And who did Utah come and get? Ethan Velches, who I know was the top guy on the Caps board at 18.
Yeah, he's a big boy, 6'5", 230.
He is like the definition of like you can't teach size.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
He's a
I'm certainly not going
monster.
to be going out of my way to like insult him, but like it is the single biggest thing you have to bring up when you talk about him.
Yep. We're not the biggest guy in the draft, but still pretty big.
Well, yeah, everybody was like was not the biggest guy in the draft aside from that 7th round pick by San Jose.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a couple videos of him, and honestly, like I don't mean to knock him because like he got drafted. He's obviously a good hockey player, but like he looked uncomfortable in his skates.
Well, yeah,
like,
that's like what usually is the problem with the big guys that a lot of people do like. It's like this is why like the big guys that skate well are so like prized because skating as you get bigger is a bigger and bigger issue, and it also comes with then issues like controlling the puck in close. Then it's what made who was Montreal's pick in 2021, the first overall.
Slavkovsky.
Slavkovsky. Yeah.
That's what's so good about Slavkovsky. That's why he was so high on the board and went first, because he's really good at controlling the puck in tight, despite how big he is.
Right.
And that's a very, very important thing that people don't really think of usually.
Right.
Yeah, but I was just shocked at the Kings that they went down to 19 to get Elton Hermanson. I'm just like, what?
It's usually because
Also,
I don't know if you've ever heard like I think it was Namita Nanakumar. She did like a talk on gaming draft picks and game theory with draft picks. The Kings clearly felt that they were going to get like the player that they wanted. They felt that they would get that player 2 spots higher, and they could get extra value in getting an additional pick in that trade. So whatever the Kings felt, they felt that Belchets, and I guess the next one was Oliver Suvanto, or at the very least, they predicted that Utah and Washington were not going to go after their guy.
I mean, it doesn't even have to just be one guy that they want, like in particular. It's like if you have 2 to 3 guys that you're all pretty comfortable with, then like moving 2 spots back to get an extra pick in order to take one of the 3 guys you already would have taken, that's literally just free money in that case.
Sure.
It depends, because I have seen this happen with the Caps, and it's blown up in their faces.
Well, it totally can. I mean, the Flyers and Canadians had that happen with York and Caulfield. But yeah,
anytime you watch your own like your own fandom more closely, you're going to notice their mistakes. This is like, I guarantee this is going to happen to every single team to varying degrees. There were a few trades where teams moved down and teams moved up, and I don't know, maybe all of them, one guy will play 10 more NHL games than the other one, or something to that effect. I'm pretty sure this probably happens every year to varying degrees. So I wouldn't stress too much about it.
Yeah,
I will point out.
Look at how
Let me
with
learn something.
the 2015 draft, Boston collected extra first round picks, had three picks in a row, and they had like 1.5 players become notable, and they skipped on Matt Barzal.
Yep.
Well,
yep.
It's not just Barzal. Like, let me just pull up.
Of course, there's other people they could have wanted to take it, but that's the one I'm
literally in a row.
with.
Barzal, Kyle Connor, Chabot. A little later, there's like Joel Eriksson Ek, Brock Boser, Travis Konechny. There's so many guys that they passed.
God, can you imagine Konechny with Boston? Like, that would have been a match made in heaven.
Konechny and Marchand on the same team might have caused like fires in arenas.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Well, that sounds like what Florida shot. All right. Just so you guys are aware, my power actually went out for a second. I'm the one that records it locally. I'm the one who does the background producer stuff. So we were in the middle of talking about how a certain player would have been a match made in heaven if they were drafted and played in Boston. And then I lost power. That's why you probably saw the light behind me flicker earlier in the recording, is because I'm in New York City and there's a massive heat wave here in the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, I was saying it would be Konechny in Boston would have been a match made in heaven. And I think, Sin, you said Marchand and Konechny on the same team would have been like absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was saying it was like there would be so many like fights and like people going to penalty boxes because like those guys just get under your skin.
It's sort of like what Florida's trying to do right now.
Yes, exactly, with the Kachuk brothers. Yep.
And don't forget
Florida's also
Marchand.
just like willing to beat you up.
Oh, yeah.
Like Marchand and like Konecny will like talk to you and like chirp at you until you're like the one that takes the penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure,
then they
yeah, that
cuddle.
Licking your face.
prototypical pest. Yeah, or yeah.
Speaking of brothers,
Did any of you like see that one game earlier this season where like Marchand said something to like Darlene and got Darlene to start like beating the crap out of him on the ice? It's just what those two like do.
Yeah, eventually guys feel like they cross the line.
It's
And-
always funny though how it's like those guys are like the nicest people that you ever talk to, you know, and then like on the ice they're like disgusting. Like I hate them.
And I've heard some pretty bad things about the Kajuks. I mean, I think there's a reason why Brady, his
okay,
entire
yeah.
team,
Special exceptions.
yeah, there's a reason why his entire team like went to the GM and just like, you have to trade this guy. He's been teasing. He apparently was teasing for years, saying he's not going to resign there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're getting lots of rumors
Speaking of
that
brothers.
Minchukov is about to get an offer sheet.
Ooh, so that's the other one that was alluded to.
Yeah.
Do we know details about it, or?
Yeah. I feel like we're getting a little ahead of ourselves again here.
We are. Let's get back to the brothers.
This is big
Speaking
news.
of brothers.
Today. We're all excited.
Speaking of brothers.
Oh yeah, we were talking about the Ruck
brothers.
twins.
The
Yep.
Rock brothers.
Yep. And again, to D's fear of trading down in the draft, the second Ruck brother went to Pittsburgh with Washington's pick.
God dang.
Sorry, no, that's Winnipeg's pick.
It's
My bad. Winnipeg's pick, yeah.
It's still bad
And-
for him being a Capitals fan, but it's not
Yeah.
as bad.
I do
I have the
feel.
Protoss brothers.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I do feel like I don't know
But 6.
when you're able to like play with a brother, like you can like lift each other up for sure.
To an extent. I don't think I have that relationship with my brother, but to an extent.
Well, it's also it's not even just like a brotherly thing as well. It's a chemistry thing in the sense that like when Liam and like Mark both make the NHL, they'll have been playing together for like well over a decade.
Yep.
And they'll probably have played for like 30 some years together if they can like make that by the end of their careers. Like that has like incredible amounts of stuff when it's just like I know what he's going to be doing on the ice.
And I'm sure there's some good chirping between the two of them as one went the first round, the other one in the second.
Well, actually, apparently,
I'm still alive.
We just lost audio on Mike.
Okay, I can hear you guys again.
Mike, can you say something?
Yeah, I can hear you guys
we just
again.
heard you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the my DAC is not powered by the UPS, and normally that's not an issue. It's just like, oh, I can't hear things for 2 seconds in case something like this happens. But nope, not today. It's affecting you guys, and hopefully not the recording too much. But when I checked the file earlier, it was fine.
Okay, great. One more blip, and we can always just reschedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could become a great blooper of how New York City is losing power because of this massive heat wave.
Yeah. Going back to the draft, yeah. I believe in Vancouver they called it Twin Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, I
playing
do.
Swedish twins, but these guys aren't Swedish.
Well, no. When the Steens were like first drafted, like people didn't think that they were going to be like as good as they ended up becoming. So that's one of those things that like really like that kind of goes back to what I was kind of talking about a little bit earlier with how the like post development is like so important with like prospects, and that's going to be what will play the biggest role here as well with like the Ruck twins. Like, will they make the NHL? Probably, but like how they are handled now and how will they do going forward is what's going to be the really critical parts with them.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think the two of them are going to be going back up to Canada for another year of juniors, or do you think
I would
the
imagine
Penguins...
so.
Going to North
I think
Dakota.
that they already said so that they were going back for like one year. I think.
Okay. And do you
Yeah,
think from
'cause-
there they're going to like force them into be on a starting roster from day one? Because I feel like it would be wasting potential
hold on.
growth time to have them playing separately. Let's say one in juniors and the one in the NHL.
Hold on. Sorry, Mike. I stand corrected. They're going to do 1 year at in Medicine Hat, and then they're going to the University of North Dakota beginning the 27-28 season.
Okay, probably for 1 year then, and then up to the
I mean, that
NHL.
makes total sense to me. Like, with the way that everything with the NCAA has changed with the CHL, it's just such a good path these days to go from the CHL to the NCAA first.
Yeah,
then
and they're still both under 170 pounds too. So like
the NCAA has also like
bigger.
changed their eligibility rules as well. They allow for 5 seasons of eligibility from the point of graduation, from what I remember, right, compared to 4 years from your birthday.
Yep, and because you're only allowed one underager in the AHL, you can't have both. So
starting this year, by the way.
Yeah, so probably better to have them go the NCAA route, play against guys who are like 21, 22 years old, and trying to just
going back to actually the 1 point Lang made about like their weight. One of the big things that Porter Martone spoke about this year is that being in college, it gives you so much time to both like exercise, like put on weight and muscle, but also like the amount of like resources that the teams will spend on you in terms of helping you plan that, figuring out what you need to be doing.
You play a lot less games.
Huge advantage. Oh yeah, that too. Like the CHL, you'll play like 60, 70 games in I know Martone played like 22 or some amount like that.
Yeah,
he's got more time to work out and like work on his game versus just go into games. Which I'm sure there's some players that would learn more from more hockey, but it feels like the college route is better.
Record.
Porter
Martone by the time played 35 games at Michigan, 57 games in Brampton, and then the year before that 60 games when they were still in Mississauga.
Yeah, by the time you wind up making it to college, to U.S. college, if you're a Canadian born hockey player, you're probably like you've played just nonstop hockey the entire time, 60, 70, 80 games maybe even a season, and not to talk about any type of like summer leagues or whatnot. Now you can get to college, you can jokingly you can kind of become an academic in hockey and spend a large chunk of your time sitting down, watching tapes, and studying your new peers at that level, plus the actual professionals.
Yeah. So I think probably the biggest advantage when it comes to like what Lane was saying about playing more hockey, being helpful sometimes, is like when you need a certain amount of like time on the ice in order to like develop, try things and whatnot.
Sure.
And when you are somebody that's like not played a lot or like more like raw in your decision making needs work, that's when like the more ice time is actually valuable in that sense.
But like, there's pros and cons to both. I agree. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Everything's at a different speed between the NHL, AHL, ECHL, NCAA. So, EHL, even the CHL, from what I've seen, it's not as fast as NCAA. Those guys are smaller, so they end up you take up less footprint with like your stick and how you're able to move around.
I mean, it also has differences with just the way people play defense too, and the way you can expect to be defended when you're trying to play.
It varies league to league. I know the Q has a reputation for not being very defensive
or physical.
It's like physical. all of the leagues. It's not that people don't try to play defense, but it doesn't get coached and forced into you the same way that they will in the NCAA.
It's a lower priority level.
Yeah.
Versus you want to go the opposite stereotype. If you want to talk about the Western Hockey League, defense and physicality and making you some giant monster of a player, that's something that they love to wind up doing.
Yeah. When I was at the Memorial Cup, Dub had Kelowna and Everett, and both of those teams had big blue liners. Some that have already been drafted, some that I saw drafted. This fast draft, actually. So.
Well, actually, can we take a moment to talk about how the CHL seems to be taking like more like imports in terms of like on their teams now?
Yeah, because there's more space.
It's a noticeable change.
There's more space.
Yep.
It seems now that it's USHL, CHL, NCAA. Because I've noticed some USHL prospects, they recently got drafted in the most recent import draft. They're going to go play or potentially play in Canada or the CHL if,
Well, it used
the
to be that
dub
like if
and
you wanted to go to NCAA, you couldn't go CHL, and so a lot guys would go to like the USHL at the time. Then, like
Right.
or
like that's what happened with
BCHL.
like Levshinov.
Yep.
Yeah.
But now that you can go CHL, CHL is just a better league than the USHL.
At this
Mm.
time, yes, but the difference is with the USHL, like 18 is kind of like the cap. Like I don't think I've seen any 20-year-olds. There's mostly like 16 to 19. You're seeing a lot of 16 and 17-year-olds, whereas in the CHL, you don't see a lot of 16-year-olds. It's very
Yeah.
rare to see a 16-year-old. CHL is more 17 to 20 and a few 21-year-olds.
Yeah, it's just
Whereas the USHL,
one age bracket older than USHL. The same way that college tends to be either would be equal or even slightly older age bracket compared to all the CHL leagues.
yeah, because college is usually 18 to 24, but you had in Veerhoff as a 17-year-old playing in college.
I
Now
mean,
you're going to have Landon
from
DuPont
the first
playing
overall
in
pick,
college.
Gavin McKenna, that I
Yeah, Gavin
saw
McKenna, you're right.
playing that I saw for the outdoor game for Penn State. He was started there at 16, turned 16 if I remember right, playing there.
Well, I think McKenna is a perfect example of what D was saying earlier with like the gap between like the CHL and the
Yeah.
NCAA. Then, because like people that watched like the first half was like you could see talent, but like there was like a lot of flaws there. But by the second half of the season like started like come around, like he was very quickly like starting to, like change things and be more
Yeah.
engaged and whatnot.
It also seemed like when it came, by the time World Juniors came around, that he had realized during that tournament that he had various flaws in his game. It's not something he was going to magically overcome, and he was able to actually take the time and work on it after World Juniors.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but some other few picks I'd like to go over just from guys I saw.
Sure.
There were a few overagers I noticed getting picked. Matthias Van Hanen, 19-year-old from Everett. And where's the other one? The Kings pick. Liam.
Oh, I think you're also missing one. Thomas Galvis. He went to
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. He was a part of Czechia's World Junior Cup team the past few years, which is why he's a name that really sticks in my head. He's a
Okay.
small guy, but Czechia's always done well the past few years.
Sure.
Yeah.
Any other surprises for you guys out of the first round?
Goaltending. How many Czech goalies were drafted?
Czech
Flyers
goalies
took
are
two.
always good.
Yeah, but they're
It's
Czech.
Yeah, nothing from what I saw for the little bit I watched and cared about that I was with. I really wish Gustafsson that the Mounders had drafted was a right-handed defenseman, not a left-handed defenseman. But it's you're drafting most likely for people that are going to be playing in 2 to 3 years. We might need left-handed defensemen in 2 to 3 years.
I mean, Gustafsson is probably still going to be a good pick for you. Like,
oh yeah,
honestly, probably the best value on the board.
You know, I'm happy with it. It's just it's not the 100% perfect pick we could have possibly had. It would only be if he was a right-handed defenseman. Everything else the same.
I was actually asking the Kings, their second round pick was a guy by the name of Liam Lefebvre, and I was asking the Kings beat reporter about it, and it's like, hey, he's 19, why is he a second round pick? And apparently he interviewed really well.
Which of that? Because I see they have at least two here.
I
Pick
think
number
he's talking about
46
46 overall.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I saw him in Kelowna, and I'm just like, I mean, he's good, but it didn't seem like as a 19-year-old he wasn't dominating. The only game Kudmi won was against Kelowna, and Kelowna did not have a good team. Kelowna had two lines.
And I'll say
That's
when he started out last season with Rimouski, and he was a -8 there, and he turned it around after going over to a +9. Roughly equal production from before versus after the trade, but he had this roughly about the same. He had better production after he's traded with 9 fewer games.
Yeah. Sometimes team systems don't work.
Yeah.
Another pick I saw, I got drafted, Alexander Bilecki, Kitchener Rangers player on a Maple Leafs draft pick, and I was kind of surprised.
Well, let's be fair here. Clipboard guy had him pretty positively rated, right?
Aha, clipboard guy. Let's go.
I don't know
I
if you
have
saw,
no-
but Clipboard Guy was on SDPN actually.
I did see
Oh
that.
my
Yeah.
God.
Dude,
And Blecky was
I mean,
really good in
I don't pay
the
no.
Memorial
I don't pay enough attention to draft. I have no idea who you're talking about.
So this
Cup.
Okay,
Guy
so-
with
yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
so Clipboard Guy is basically this guy who like he does his own scouting, and
Okay.
his thing is he's got a clipboard that he takes everywhere with him. And so he, out of his own pocket, he paid to go to the draft. And a lot of the guys being drafted matched with his own rankings. And so apparently, like his interview with
But what
SDPN,
made him famous was that the TV cameras were like cutting to him every like draft.
yeah, he was cheering
draft pick, and
because
he's like, yeah, with the clipboard in hand.
yeah,
I
And
got
so
one
they
right.
actually got him up. They brought him up to like where all the commentators were.
Mhm.
They had him like on there for a little bit later
Oh,
in the
that's cool.
draft.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so
he is
what-
now colloquially known as Clipboard Guy.
Okay. So what team is he a
I-
fan of, and how do we recruit him as a ranker?
he is a Leafs fan.
Sorry, Lang,
So-
you're fired.
So now that's okay. So now the Leafs have Dart Guy and Clipboard Guy.
Okay.
I mean,
and the legend of David Ayers.
oh, and the legend of David Ayres, yes.
Yeah, just some good things in their favor to cover up some of their horrible history that happened from their dark ages.
That's right. That's right. And the Dark Ages were long. I guess.
I'm curious
one
about
more
I'm curious about something like so. I talked about Gustafson a little bit. Towards the end of the last podcast, we wound up talking about what we would like from this draft. Were each
Sure.
of you two happy? Did it line up with what you wound up saying last time? And then I'll throw it over to you, Assassin, afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, the Leafs had to take McKenna. Like they had to. Even if he doesn't work out, which I don't think he will. He looks like, even if he doesn't turn into a superstar, he's got like a commit level to being, to work and to honestly be a bit of a hard player to play against. Like it looks like he enjoys that role. Like there was that quote where he wants to be the bad guy in every barn he's in, right? So even if he doesn't like turn into a superstar, I think he's going to be a solid player. After the fact, I'm happy that Nyes is still a Leaf. Though if the Werenski deal had happened, I would have said, "See ya." I would have taken Zach Werenski in a heartbeat. Even though there were also rumors that Nyes wasn't going to be in that trade. So to which like my mind goes to Cowan and Ben Danford, which also with all of the depth guys that the Leafs picked up in free agency, that like
Oh, you got an inch
I'd be
free agency. We'll talk about that later.
yeah, but like it felt like that was going to be a smart move. It's refreshing having Cheka and the Sundin duo right now. Even if all of the like, let's pretend every single one of these decisions is a complete flop. Okay, seriously,
Mhm.
let's pretend every single one of them is a complete flop.
Standard expectations.
They did something, and
Yeah.
that is something that Dubas was hamstringed by. He wanted to make a change. Shanahan said no.
Mhm.
So he said, "F it, I'm leaving." Okay, as much as he was just like, "This is bad for my family." No, I'm sure he was like, "I can't be a GM here anymore because I can't be a GM. Somebody is telling me no, right?" And I think all of these GMs, they've got like pride in what they do, and they want to be able to make the decisions they want to make, good or
Yeah.
bad.
He's handcuffed with his hands behind his back, trying to make trades with his toes.
Exactly.
Did Dubas really say no, or did Shanahan say no to him?
Yeah, Shanahan said no to him because I guess like the unsubstantiated rumor is that he was ready to move Marner. I think
Shanny wouldn't let him.
Yeah, and Shanahan wouldn't let him.
Like Dubas had that like emotional press conference, and things seemed weird after that, and then he got fired. But the idea was that he was going to change the Big Four.
Well,
a year before, actually.
Well, yeah, there was also the phone call that Shanahan made to the top stars to the core four. Is like, none of you guys are moving. You're all going to stay here. We're going to keep all of you guys around.
Yep.
And it's like, well, now my boss is saying the opposite thing, pretty much lying for me for what I want to do.
I'm glad I totally torpedoed this conversation.
Yeah, no, that's good. And so like everything goes bad, and like Treliving did, quite honestly, nothing.
Yeah, jack shit.
He
well,
was.
I think it was worse than nothing.
I mean, honestly, yeah. Like,
you might have been better.
Yeah,
I think I draw the definition of worse than nothing at Mike Milbury and his tenure running teams.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the definition of worse than nothing.
You're digging at like a bar that is so low that it's hard to get lower.
Well, Lang, I think you could have gotten any Boston pizza manager to run the Leafs. They would have done a better job.
I mean, maybe. At the end of the day, we get Gavin McKenna, we win the lottery, and that had nothing to do with what Brad Treliving did.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that we almost didn't get a top 5 pick, and it would have gone to Boston or Philly or what have you.
And I would thank you for your service.
Yeah, right. But it put us into a position where Cheka and Sundin can do something, which is basically what they've done. It's all Leaf fans have been asking for a while, is just somebody who will do something, good or bad. At least we're making a choice and we're doing it, right? So overall, I give them a good grade for the draft, the moves they made. They're prepared if Matthews stays, and they're prepared if Matthews goes. And if you allow me to put on my tinfoil hat, Matthews and McDavid, same agent.
God.
They are both going to be free in 2 years, and I can legitimately see them, and maybe not signing with the Leafs, but I can legitimately see them both going to the same team.
Not with the Oilers then, because it seems like the Oilers keep shitting up their demands.
Oh yeah, probably won't be.
I think the Oilers being so bad is why McDavid might go somewhere else, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of depends on how close either team gets, right? Because I could see Matthews at the end of 2 years being like, okay, I'm the extra thing that gets the Oilers over the hump, right? Or McDavid to the Leafs saying he's the extra thing that gets the Maple Leafs over the hump. Or both are a complete tire fire and they go on, right? And I could absolutely see a team that is like on the come up. They've got like a few first round draft picks.
You don't think they're both going to go to Vegas or Florida for $10 and $15 million each?
Or Minnesota, apparently.
Probably not, simply because they're not going to have that cap space there. Well, no, but like I could actually see Vancouver as a really good spot because they're terrible. They're going to have the next 2 years. They're going to have really good draft picks. They've drafted Caleb Malhotra. Next year, they're going to draft somebody good. The year after that, they're going to draft somebody good. Everybody who is worth something on that team is going to be on an entry-level contract. They're going to have stupid amount of money. And Vancouver's not just the only team that's going to be in that position. There's going to be a few teams that are in that position. I could see the Rangers being a good bet. The only player they're paying a lot of money there is Shesterkin, right? Everybody else is going to probably be expired. And they'll probably have the cap space to do something.
I think there might be a team you could potentially be overlooking with this. This is getting a bit ahead of itself, but it ties into what you're saying. If the Ducks, if the offer sheet for Carlson, where if they're going to have a bunch of cap space available from the assets they've lost, with a bunch of first round picks, they don't even need to deal. They could just be like, we're going to keep these, and we're going to draft a whole new top 6 guys. 6 guys over the span of 2 years, years, and then they're all going to be dirt cheap, and have the 2 of them come in. Like, if that offer sheet goes through, there's going to be no team that has the potential to eat as many bad contracts for picks and have so many top talent picks to begin with than the Ducks.
Yeah, there's going to be a team.
I want to talk about that, but we should keep that for later.
Let's get to that.
Sure.
Okay.
I will talk a lot about that.
All right. So, I'm gonna talk
about one item I want to bring up is Joe Aginla, first pick of the 3rd round, going to the Flames.
Oh, right.
I would like to say that the Flames did Jerome a favor.
Oh yeah, you think that's high for him?
I am a Vancouver Giants fan, and I watch them most of the year on Victory Plus, throwing in that promotion. God, I don't have much positive to say about Joe's play. I mean,
Yeah, I feel bad for Joe Ginla because it's like if Tasia Ginla had been drafted by the Flames, then like he was always then there's always gonna be the shadow of their father, right? But like Tasia Ginla is a very good player,
Mhm.
and so like he would have very well been able to like stand on his own to a degree. I feel like depending on how he develops,
Mhm.
Joe Ginla has no chance. He will always be in his father's shadow in that team, right?
and his
That
brothers now.
is very true. Yeah.
'Cause
Though I didn't get
I've
the
watched him play,
opportunity. Okay. Yeah.
and
I
it's just not there. Like he's third liner quality in the
Well,
CHL. And
yeah. I mean, okay. Like I say, like I feel bad, about a guy that got drafted by the NHL, which is like, exciting. But
Yeah, he's
right,
not.
yeah.
I didn't get the chance to watch Joe play, but I did get the opportunity to ref Tijiginla and
in Seattle when he was
yeah,
down
in
there.
Seattle when he was there, and um, at like 15 or 16 when he was there, he played like he was a foot taller and 100 pounds heavier. He played exactly like Jerome. I mean, the only reason why he was traded out of Seattle is because he was not going to get the playtime that he wanted there, simply because of his age. So
And his
he gets
dad also
traded.
pushed it
Yeah, so he gets traded to a team
longer.
where they're really bad, and there's no shot he's not making that top lineup. So he can get all the playtime in the world.
Right,
And
like Tisha Ginla like has it, and
yeah,
Joe Ginla doesn't.
yeah. And that's not to say that Joe can't get it, right? But it
He's only
does
5'10" right now.
for now. I mean, I don't know
I,
how. I actually
I
don't know
my old
how. It's been a
my
while
old
since I've
best my
seen.
old best
He
friend
turns
like grew
18 next month.
Yeah, okay. I
my
mean, he's
old
still
best
growing.
friend but my old best friend growing up joined the Marine Corps when he was like 20, 21 or whatnot, and in boot camp there he grew 3 inches somehow.
Well,
He
they
was under
probably fed
six.
him properly.
Well, yeah, he
Probably
was
had him
always
hanging from the
a thin rod
boulevard.
that ate so much anyway. Like I'm
Yeah,
a big fat guy, and he would eat more than me. But it's I feel like they took him there wrapped around a pole like taffy and just stretched him because I looked over at him like after talking with him for an hour after on his graduation. Is like, oh, by the way, congratulations on being 6 foot now.
yeah,
He was ecstatic with it. He didn't even realize it.
yeah. I mean, yeah, he's still got a lot of time to like get bigger and fill out. And a third round pick turning into a player, it like is not unheard of. It gets a little more rare when you get to the fourth, fifth, sixth round and whatnot. But like, I fully expect a lot of these third round picks to hang for at least a season in the NHL. And
Well,
he could
we'll
be
see.
he should be no different, right? Like he'll get a sniff, and whether he stays or he goes is obviously largely going to be up to how he plays. But I think he could, um, like pedigree is there, right? And that counts for something.
Yeah, on that same line of thinking, Brian Lynn, who's maybe an inch taller, same age, he just turned 18,
Mhm.
I recall. He had a monster year for the Vancouver Giants. Like, I have two of his gamers, and
Mhm.
if you watch him play, it's very hard for him to get hit or pinned against the boards, just at a junior level. Just like they're not hitting this guy.
Right.
And if he's up against the boards, it's his choice.
That
It's
does
not
worry
like he
me
gets
for
stuck.
when he's playing an NHL game, and there will be players that will go out of their way to make
While
contact.
Yeah,
while I
he
agree with
won't
you,
know necessarily how to
he's
deal with it at the time because he
only
hasn't had that
17.
experience.
Yep.
He's only 17. He is still going to grow,
Sure.
and he's going to Denver. So he is going, like Quinn Hughes, for example.
Hmm.
One big thing he learned when he played in Michigan was being able to get out of hits or being able to get
Oh
out of
yeah,
line of a hit.
Right.
for sure.
Uh, and that I see that in Ryan Lynn. So I was like always like, oh yeah, he's smaller, but I was always shocked that he was kind of being pushed down behind these bigger guys. I understand the logic, but the offensive talent is just
Hmm.
phenomenal.
I
Sure.
just want
I
to bring
mean,
up something kind of related to what we're talking about before. I really wish
Yep.
the Islanders drafted one player that went for this in the 6th round. A Parker Tretier. Tretier is the grandson of Brian Trottier.
Oh, hell yeah.
But unfortunately,
Montreal.
he was drafted by Montreal. I heard about this like the day before the draft after we finished recording. I was like, please, just like 6th-round picks don't always turn it out to too much, but it would have been cool, even if I only get to see him. Well, I was about to say Bridgeport. See, go up to Ontario, go up to Hamilton to see him play once. It would have been fun. But no,
Same line of thought. Jack Hextall in the first round is a distant cousin of Ron Hextall.
Oh,
I heard a lot about Jack Hextall in the lead up to the draft.
Yep.
I was just praying that we didn't waste like the 21st pick on it, because that would be a little too high for my taste. Like,
Sure.
I would have been happy with him like by the end of the first or in the early second.
Yeah, I mean, you ended up trading, or Philadelphia ended up trading it away anyway. But
Right. Yeah. Actually, in fact, since we're just talking about like Ryan Lynn, Flyers were originally at 21, where San Jose drafted Lynn.
Yep.
And I will say, Ryan Lynn, I think, is a good player, definitely going to make the NHL. But I think of him a lot like I think of like Cam York, in that like it would be nice to have, but I don't think it's going to be a like game changer. Which is why I think like the Flyers can like live with like trading back. And Sokolovsky, I don't know how much you all have seen about him.
Big as a house.
He's big as a house, can skate, not afraid to like throw his body. And Flyers dev camp was just this past week, so we all so we got to actually see him, and like he's willing to bust out moves when he can. So there's stuff to be excited about with that pick too. But yeah, I will say the first night everybody hated that pick.
Yeah, and Sokolovsky was the second a player from Kazakhstan in the first round. Yeah. They had 2 in a row, which was super cool.
Just came over like a year ago, I think, to like London, and I heard that he initially like could barely like talk to people because of it.
I mean, it's been since like the Nagano Olympics since we had a Kazakhstan hockey team in the actual Olympics. I wonder if,
despite being a semi-consistent team at the top level for World Juniors.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if these two guys help them get back into the Olympics.
Yeah, start promoting fans back home.
Yep.
I will just point out.
Well, I mean, this is how you like wrote the
his
game,
nickname.
Yeah.
Sokolovsky's nickname is the Terminator.
Oh, okay. I see why Philadelphia has drafted him now. Yeah, okay. Everything makes sense.
Well, it's not even just that. It's like Sokolovsky plays for the London Knights, who's like Dale Hunter's like best buds with like Keith Jones. They love drafting from the London Knights. So between the size and like
that can hurt you though. Like if you're like overconfident about all these various different players.
Well, it's like but it's more like it's like Keith Jones can go talk to like Dale Hunter, and it's like, so what do you think about the guys playing for you this year? And Dale Hunter can be like, oh, like this Denver Barkey kid, like he's just saying
it could potentially be a double-edged sword. Of like you might think higher than these players' skill levels or skill ceilings actually are,
right?
But you also might get the inside scoop on it with being best buds with one of the
just happen
the
to think that that the London Knights develop guys very well, and so that's why they're so confident in that.
Yeah, it could be the
same. While I agree with
philosophy.
you, Assassin, I'm going to point out that the Flyers drafted 2 guys in the first round from the Windsor Spitfires last year. Martone and Nesbitt.
You're talking about Nesbitt? Yeah.
Nesbitt and Martone.
I forgot. I wasn't thinking about Martone from the Spitfires, but yeah, I guess that too, yeah.
So
to finish up with the Caps.
Yeah, I was about to say, you still haven't gone over what if your predictions went the way you liked it to go.
Oh,
I love this, by the way.
The Caps needed was a right D, and they got Brian McFadden out of Thayer, who I don't even know. The amount of junior hockey I watch is USHL and EHL and NCAA. I have nothing on this guy other than he's 6'5". And then they got 3 forwards: Logan Stewart, Isaiah Sparks, and the first round pick Oliver Savanto. Savanto's apparently a guy that likes to train with Barkov. Sparks I saw in Vancouver, and while he has a great shot, he is I don't even want to be rude to my own team. More of a passenger. Like you give him a center who can feed him pucks, he's going to shoot him in the net.
Mm-hmm.
His play off the puck needs a little work, and then Logan Stewart speaking of family, is Brad Stewart's son.
Okay.
And
Long time
So
shark, if I'm not
I will
mistaken.
say I think
Yeah.
Suwanto is a very safe guy to make the NHL. It's just I don't know what the upside is going to be for him past the bottom 6.
Yeah, he could either be the guy that you have out there for every defensive D-zone face-off, and he's going to be good in a pinch, or he's just going to end up being a bottom 6 guy, is what you're saying?
Right, yeah. Like he could just be like one of those like low in the lineups, but like always like defensively like stellar guys. But I would feel safe in the fact that you got an NHL guy out of that first round pick,
Yeah, I
which
didn't
in a lot of
get
ways
a
in the bottom
chance to
half of the
watch
draft
much of the World
is an
Juniors.
accomplishment.
Yeah, I didn't get to see much of the World Juniors, so I can't comment on his play because usually I like to watch it and then see some of the nuances.
Mhm.
Like Tyus Sparks, who the Caps drafted in the 4th round. He was actually part of the Mathis Preston trade. Remember last week I had the Mathis Preston jersey, who went 50th overall to the Ducks. But it is his play was more passenger than driver, whereas Mathis Preston is a driver of play. So Ducks got a good player there, but is how badly is Pat Verbeek going to play hardball in the future with him?
We keep on like teasing the stuff that we're going to talk about later, but I feel like this is again this topic is going to come up later.
All right, Mike,
Sure.
on to the Islanders.
I talked about it a little bit already. I'm happy with Gustafsson. I think overall I haven't actually gone through. I haven't had time to look too much into the different details for it, but Gustafsson seems like a good reliable player. Just wish he was right-handed compared to left-handed. Lincoln. I'm going to butcher all these names. I'm bad with remembering names and bad with pronouncing name. Coolin. Cooney? Okay. Arizona State, yeah, I remember hearing about him. He must be physical because like the 25-26 stats is 28 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. Granted, we're going all the way down to like what is this, the 4th round? Yeah, 4th round. We had no 2nd or 3rd round picks because we wanted to trade them away. I kind of don't wish those trades happen, but it is what it is. Then, oh boy, 1 second. Vladimir Dasecki going out of the OHL, but was from Sweden originally. He has some height from him. He's almost 6 foot. He's almost 200 pounds. And he might be able to become a good physical player that has some scoring, but like maybe he can. I think he even spent some time with the adult Swedish league, like Gustafsson. He also played in Slovak for a bit. Interesting. Is he Slovak?
He's Czech.
Czech.
He's
okay.
Czech.
But he apparently played in Slovak in 23-24. He could be someone that might be a good long-term replacement to fill the gap that a Cal Clutterbuck left behind. Antonov Makuski. I'm butchering all of these. I apologize to everyone's names.
Artem Matuk.
There you go. Artem Matuk. Right, out of Russia, the MHL. 54 games. Okay. I don't hold my breath when it comes to Russian players because sometimes they'll come over and they'll be great for like a quarter season, half a season with us, and we'll think, oh, they'll have long-term potential. And then some reason they'll just die and fall off a cliff and become nobody that gets left to go in restricted free agents like what just happened. Or we wind up trading away for not too much of anything. Though, of course, we will get Russians that are fantastic in the draft in the late rounds. I mean, look at Ilya Sorokin. It's just, I don't hold my breath when it comes to Russians on this team, generally. And then Robert Cohen. Interesting fact I actually know about him. After Gustafsson, he was the next player I knew the most about because he's from the same town. I think it went to the same high school that Anders Lee went to, who I'm wearing his jersey, but unfortunately we did not wind up keeping him in free agency. I had there's the tinfoil hat conspiracy theory is like, well, you signed for 3 years and maybe you get to play with the kid from your old hometown for $1 million less than you're looking for. But it didn't work out. But hey, this person seems interesting. USHL, plays some time in college now at Western Michigan University. Okay stats. He's a little bit small, but he's a thin rail, so maybe he can bulk up a bit.
He turned 20 right before the draft.
Yeah, he's also another overager, like Anders Lee was when we wanted drafting him. And you go back, you could even find videos talk about Anders Lee from like his high school football career, because he was a running quarterback in Minnesota. And there's people just dogging him. It's like, oh, you'll never go professional. You'll never have a professional sports career entirely resulting about football. And there's like replies from a few years later talking. It's like, well, now he's the captain of the New York Islanders. How's that now? All right, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Things went pretty much how I was expecting it to go. A little bit sad to see Lee go. Anyway, Assassin, what about you?
Yeah, how do you feel the Flyers did?
So like I said, we traded back. I will say my personal hope was actually that the guy that LA took, Eldon Hermanson, I thought he was one of those few like really top, like really really good skill guys that could realistically fall to the Flyers. So I was sad to see him go early. But I'm happy enough with Sokolowski. And beyond just that, since we already talked a lot about him, Brett Liskey seems interesting. I like the late playoff push from him last year. And I also think it's incredibly funny that
you
when
took 2
he
goalies. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'll come back to that in a sec. But Brett Liskey, when he hopped on his interview with the media, was already wearing a Flyers jersey. Apparently, his dad is a like massive Flyers fan.
That's cool.
And as soon as he saw he got drafted by the Flyers, started handing out Flyers jerseys to like the whole party. Because he had like 30.
Yeah, I saw Liskey in Kelowna playing for Everett. He's pretty solid defenseman.
Yeah, well, so my understanding is I didn't see a ton of him, but he seemed like somebody that was just stuck behind on a second pair until the playoffs and got to play a bigger role, and he really like took it and ran with it.
So in like this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I think it's really important for like the Flyers offseason. So 2012, Paul Holmgren makes the offer sheet for Shea Weber, except it's 14 years versus the 5 years they give to Leo Carlsson.
Back in the day when you could offer 14 years.
Right. Okay. So obviously there's 2 scenarios here. One, you get Carlsson. One, you don't. Okay. What do the Flyers look like with Carlsson? What do the Flyers look like without Carlsson? And if there's enough cap space that they can still sign Zegras, they can still sign Gauthier, regardless of whether they sign Carlsson or not. Well, what does Carlsson give them, and what do they need if he doesn't sign?
The thing that they need is a proper 1C, not even in the sense that they need the elite scoring, though that would certainly help them. But like they need a guy to push everybody down into the slot where they will like really start killing their minutes. Because like if you get a proper 1C, because right now Zegras is the 1C if he's playing center or he's a top wing, really. And if you get a guy like Carlsson, he can be your 1C, and you could either run Zegras as your 2C and feel really good about that, or you could then let Christian Dvorak take those minutes. You currently have like your defensive like elite like Noah Cates third line center, and Couturier who slaughtered the fourth line center spot in playoffs. I don't know if anybody watched him in the Penguin series, but he was killing it out there against them. And then the Flyers are then stacked at wing from that then, and the whole forward group then looks very scary once you get that 1C that slots everybody in deeper. Mm-hmm. Without Carlsson, you're stuck doing what they kind of did last year, which is like they can make it work, but like you're never getting a deep playoff run when you're having to like when everybody has kind of having to play up a little bit beyond what they really should be.
Right.
Like Michkov on the third line.
Well, Michkov is a complicated topic, and like if I talk about Michkov, we're going to well exceed the amount of time that we have planned for this.
I have
So
plenty
I'll
of
come
time for
back
this,
to.
and we're gonna go until like
I'll-
3 a.m. Come on.
Yeah, so I'll be very, very quick about this, I promise then. So Mishkov started off the year badly because of his offseason injury and the fact that he couldn't then train. And it then became a issue between him and Tocchet about it then. Post Olympic break, I think Mishkov looked a lot better until the playoffs hit and the pace picked up further. I am very interested in how Mishkov will look next year once he's had a full offseason then, because Mishkov is a very, very promising, talented young guy that just didn't get the chance to show it with the physical state he was in, even though you could still see the flashes of it sometimes. So with a full offseason, I think he can be great and he can play more than just third line minutes. But like for instance, everybody talked about the Mishkov scratch in playoffs that when he got scratched, but like Mishkov had not been doing anything in playoffs to prove that he deserved the ice time. So I can't be mad at that scratch either, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I guess a best case scenario for you then is like Carlson comes over. Carlson is the center for Michkov, unlocks that
No, he's
talent.
center for Tippett and Konechny.
Okay,
like Tippett, Konechny, Martone, Mishkov, Tyson Forster. Like there's Denver Barkey and Alex Bump are good too, even though they're not clear cut top six guys. Like there's so many good wingers that you could like play whatever you want with the lines. It's like a coach's dream.
okay, so you've got all of these wingers that you could put with Carlson. You've only got 6 players to go in the top 6. So
it's actually hard. I think that there might be a winger that gets traded precisely because it's
that's where I was going. Yeah.
So many wingers.
Okay, so let's say you guys do get Carlson. You have a good year, right? And Michkov has a good year, but not really a top 6 year. Or do you move him before that when everybody thinks, oh, I can fix him?
That's tough. As long as Mishkov has a good year, I'd say I don't feel like his value will have gone down then. It just won't have like recovered to the way it was before this past season.
Mm-hmm.
The question though is that you will have the cap space from the rising cap to afford Mishkov if he to afford Mishkov to once his ELC expires.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's a concern. I think the better question then is like, who are you moving out of the forwards that the Flyers currently have? And I can tell you the Flyers, all the Flyers fans online always keep saying Tippett. But I don't think the Flyers like that, and I get why, because he's a lot of speed. Like he makes your offense genuinely like fast in a way that like you really, really want to keep on the team because you don't want to be a slow team.
Yeah, no, I've seen my team wind up losing speed one way or another, and that was something that like it was working for a bit, but then the collective speed dropped as years passed by, and then like all productivity wanted going away. Now the question for me that I think of it from a different side is this is for first round picks. How do you feel like your prospect pool and system right now can survive can survive with what it is and just having second round picks?
One thing I want to point out here is that the Flyers have one of Toronto's upcoming first round picks, either in 27 or 28. Now, granted, like we don't know how good that pick will be because the jury is out on how good Toronto will be next year. But like that's one of those things that will make you feel better about giving out a offer sheet like this, knowing that you have a first round pick like saved.
But if my point being though is like, do you feel like it's worth sacrificing that much of your future? Because the vast majority, we're talking 95% become first round picks, become NHLers, but that might drop down to maybe 40% of second round picks. Do you feel like you'll be able to survive? The prospect will be able to survive and not lead to a decade or two of slump afterwards.
I think so, but like let me like put this like more in perspective here about why I think so, because like the Flyers issue isn't we need more NHL players. The Flyers issue is that we need more NHL top line players, because like they've got NHL guys out the window. Like they have like a guy that could easily fit on any other team's like third line, like in Alex Bump, who sat for like a lot in playoffs because they didn't have space in their like forward group. the issue isn't whether like they need a first round pick just to get another NHL player. It's can they get a top guy, and if they're willing to cut to, and I think giving like 4 first round picks of likely middle 6 guys if they even hit is a very very fair thing to get, just to get that real legit 1C onto the team. Then I think
Okay.
that's fair, and I think that they can survive because they also have enough guys that seem likely NHL guys in their prospect pool that they can afford to like backfill as
Okay.
needed. I think.
No, I understand that. It's none of the Flyers have had some really interesting and chaotic moves that sometimes, from what it feels like, at least thinking back on it. So
It's nice to
I
matter
could see
again.
it. But it's
Piggybacking on, hold
now
on, piggybacking on what
I just
Sassen said.
just think of like one more follow up question with that. Like, why haven't some of these other talents you guys have had then, like, that this is stuff I should be directed towards the GM? Like, why aren't these talents that you have here not developing up to that top number one C skill level? Is there some issue there with the current system of the team,
I don't think,
or
I think
is it
I think
just
it's
bad
a
luck?
matter of like who of the Flyers have gone best player available since basically 2022. That's when they took Cutter, who they had initially thought might be a center, but even then they felt pretty good about him. But obviously the whole Cutter saga happened that we're not going to go into because that's another long tangent. They got Drysdale back, who is looking very good this year. I think he's living up to his hype now. Finally,
Okay.
they got Mishkov, who again we can't go into, but I feel very good about. They took Luchenko, who is the one really really questionable pick, and they then took Martone, another winger. So they just haven't drafted centers very highly. They
Okay.
took Nesbitt last year at like 12th, and he is still a project at this point. And so they just haven't drafted centers very much to the point that that's why I think that's like why it's not filled.
Yeah, you drafted a center. I brought up the list for your history. You drafted a center in 24. But he's only played 8 games.
That's Jet Luchenko, who made the NHL purely because Torts wanted a center and he hated Couturier.
Yeah.
You'd think Couturier would be like right up Torts' alley too.
You would think, but actually the funny thing is that Torts wanted a really really fast team, and he hated how slow Couturier was.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, the last
the issues went deeper than just that, but like that's how it started.
Yeah, the last first round pick, or should I say picks, is you had 2 centers for the first round, goes back to 2017. With Nolan, Patrick, and hey, that
if
I'm
we
not
could
gonna
not talk about the 2017 draft as a Flyers fan, that would be much more comfortable for me. I certainly don't like thinking about that.
Sure.
Right.
But
So-
it was to your point that they, out of curiosity, I scrolled through. It's like, oh yeah, no, they really haven't drafted a first round center in forever.
Piggybacking off Assassin, just to point out, the Penguins did not have a first round pick in 2015, 16, 17, or 18.
Mm-hmm.
They were trading them for players, and that coincided with that run they had in the playoffs, including the back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Hey,
So
from there it
if you're
worked
gonna
out, and
lose-
it paid out for them.
Well, it's just because it's like players in the NHL matter more than potential future NHL players. You only take
Yeah.
draft picks when you can't keep the player.
Yeah, no, I understand. Do agree with that. It's like there's a weird curve where it's like undrafted pick valued high, then right after you draft someone for normally the next year or two, they're worth less than a first round pick, and then they begin to increase pretty exponentially for value wise after that. I mean,
It's like a first round pick. It could be anything. It could even be a boat. Then it's like a specific guy, and then it's like if you're talking with the Leafs about a trade and they don't like Brett Liskey, then it's like, well, I don't want him, and so he doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And until he becomes something, and then suddenly he's worth more than a pick again.
Yeah, I forgot the Penguins also had 3 first round picks last year as well.
Yeah, they're loading up.
Well, that's have kind of gone full rebuild mode. Well, actually, it's more of a retool under Dubas, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, 3 of us here don't like the fact that they're putting in the good effort for them, but it's interesting to watch.
I mean, the only guy I actually liked that they picked was Orkov. I was like, God damn it, they're picking another Tom Wilson in that.
Interestingly enough,
literally they saw Tom Wilson. We need our own Will Horkoff, Sean's son.
Well, look at how that went for the Rags when they went out to acquire people after dealing with Tom Wilson. Maybe the
There's
same thing
another
will happen there.
team. There's another team that could sign both McDavid and Matthews. Is
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
I know. I thought you were about to say the Rags. This is like, no,
And
I don't
me,
want that.
if that happens.
That would be after Crosby and Malkin are gone.
Crosby and Malkin expire after this year.
Yeah. And
So
Letang.
they'd have a year potentially of rebuilding, maybe.
I'll continue rebuilding from what they're currently doing.
Potentially, yep. And Carlson's off the books, Malkin's off the books, Crosby's off the books. I could like almost certainly see a Crosby Malkin resigning at like 40 and 41 years old. Bring in McDavid, Matthews and then your 4 centers are Matthews, McDavid, Crosby, Malkin.
Yeah, the only thing I would worry about that for the Penguins' perspective is they have new ownership again, if I remember hearing right.
True.
The Fenway Sports Group. Now, like we talked about last episode when it came to teams like Columbus, are they willing to spend that money, or were they going to be like, here's our internal cap, or we're not willing to pay any single player that much, like McDavid or Matthews be willing to wind up asking for. There's just, I feel like that's your biggest wrench in that idea as a whole is what will ownership want to do.
There's going to be some nuance for sure.
Hold on. So we're done with the draft. We are now going to go into the new coaches in front office.
Sure.
Lang, this is your moment to shine with Chayka and
Rip
Hiller.
a new one or preach his praises.
So initially with the Hiller hire, I was very scared that we were going to go into the 1-3-1 trap. But like that press conference they had, he was just like, yeah, we're not playing the 1-3-1 trap, which is great. Because while even if the Leafs were to win with the 1-3-1 trap, I still want to enjoy watching them. Right?
Hey, I enjoyed the Islanders a lot playing that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing the Leafs lose.
You'd be on your own.
No, many Islanders fans did enjoy it for many years.
Yeah, you can curve me with that. There's being defensively minded, and then there's the 1-3-1 trap. It's just absurdly boring.
Right. There's like
hockey.
being defensive, and then there's like not really playing.
Right. Exactly. I remember there was like a playoff series, and Philly was involved. I think it was like
Ottawa. Guy Boucher.
Was it?
No, Guy Boucher was in Tampa back then. Guy Boucher. He was the coach.
I'm trying to remember the game.
One.
But like the Philly defenseman came out, realized he was facing
I know exactly
the 1-3-1 trap,
you're talking about,
and literally went behind the net again, and was just like, okay.
No, he at first sat behind the net, and the rest called a stoppage because like they didn't like what he did, and the explanation was you have to keep the puck moving. So they started passing it between the 2D until the Tampa players eventually came forward to play it. Yeah. The funny thing was the Flyers had the lead, so Tampa was playing defensive in a losing game.
Yeah, which was baffling, absolutely baffling. Anyway, yeah, all that to say is, I want everybody to succeed. Obviously, like I cheer for the Leafs. I want.
Well, so Han, what's your thoughts about the Hiller hiring then, particularly in the sense that he seems to have been hired due to Matthews? Is that like too much of a like inmates running the asylum kind of move for you then?
Not really. Babcock was hired because of McDavid.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think
we'll get to that. We will get to
that. Bad end of it. So, like, how do you feel about moving closer to that bad end?
I mean, I'm okay with it. If it doesn't work out, Matthews has gone in 2 years. You fire Hiller. You start over. Literally every decision. Chayka has made has been, we're going for it in these 2 years, and after those 2 years, we figure it out.
I do like the idea of like the between, like I said in our Discord server, the arms race that's going to be going on between Edmonton and Toronto, and a bit of some other teams jumping in there. Like we're now seeing with to do with Minnesota as well.
Yeah. And so like, if he does well, and you can either and like he does well, and you're winning hockey games, or he doesn't, and you tell if Matthews in fact did spur on that hire, you slap Matthews on the wrist and say, okay, now the adults are in the room. Okay, let us find us a coach. Regardless, he's made a 2-year bet, and even if again this ends up being a complete tire fire, I stick with Cheka because he's actually making choices, and he fully is like, yeah, this is risky with the Radish deal. That's the one of the two deals that is not 2 years long. It's just Radish and Bobrovsky, and Bobrovsky is still just a 3-year deal. And
yeah, I will say the Bobrovsky move is the one move that Czech has made that's like had me thinking like, I'm really not sure I would have done that, just because he's a little too old to make that kind of money, in my opinion. But
Goalies last
like everything else,
longer
like
than
I
forwards,
get
though.
the need for it though.
yeah, I mean, I made the joke like that's Dwayne Rolison's music, who played until he was I don't even know how old, like 41, 42. But like even if like let's say Bobrovsky has a comeback year, okay, plays really really well, and then the second year starts to taper off, okay, you can still do a Stolarz Bobrovsky tandem at 40 games each, right? And you're happy. Stolarz is a number one goalie for 30
When
games
he's
a
not
year.
hurt.
For 30 games a year, right? Maybe. And if you've got 2 number one goalies who can be number one goalies for half the year, we're set. And then even more than that is Aksiamov in just literally dragged the Marlies kicking and screaming to a championship. Now granted Cowan was like really, really good as well, but
Yeah.
like Aksiamov clearly stole that show and brought
And
a
you also have
team.
Hildeby.
Yeah, and well, no, Hildeby's out. He's in Tampa.
Right. Oh, right. I missed that. Yeah.
Right, and that like also sends a signal to Aksiamov. It's like, look, you're the goalie of the future. Okay, we brought in Bob because we need somebody now. We don't think you're quite there yet, but
Mhm.
we are expecting you to take over, and we're moving out Hildeby so that you can get all of the number one minutes in
And
the AHL.
and nothing winds up saying that in a year or 2 years that okay, his time is now, or oh no, Bob actually is finally worn out and unable to produce, that they can't wind up either buying out, waiving in to get partial contract return, or moving him to get some assets at the deadline back from some other team.
Yeah, I fully expect Stolarz to get hurt, and I obviously I hope that doesn't happen, right? Because again, when he is healthy, he is phenomenal. He's legitimately a number one goalie when he's healthy. Bob is a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. If
2-time Vezina winner.
Yeah.
exactly, if Stoli gets hurt, okay, up comes Aksiamov, who's also Russian, Bobrovsky, Aksiamov together. Like that's like you couldn't ask for a better like mentorship pipeline, right?
Or even if it's the other way, it's Bobrovsky that gets hurt, he could still can be there with the team,
exactly.
mentoring him from the sidelines.
Exactly.
Lang,
And
while
then
I
go
agree
ahead.
with your train of thought, they signed Slovakia's number one goalie from the Olympics.
Oh yeah,
Lavage.
Lavage. Yep, and like he's gonna get backup minutes in the AHL probably, unless he blows them away in camp. In which case, then you've got a like, like even if he blows them away in camp, it's just like you just hold on to him. He signed to a deal.
Yeah,
You like let
it's
him.
good to have. In my personal opinion, it's good for a team to have pressure from the top. Like, here's what you can be, but it's also still good to have pressure from the bottom, being like, you can't get complacent where you are because there's someone that's coming to eat your lunch in case you don't wind up performing.
Like the thing about goalies though is that like it's a mental game. Like you have to be able to focus and like lock in. And like a large part of that focus I know is that like you don't have this concern of like the guy behind me is going to eat my lunch if I don't pay it, if I'm not fully 100% locked in.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And so like obviously like some goalies will take that differently than others will. So it could just be that we're both right in like separate cases.
Sure.
But like I don't think that's a 100% true kind of thing either.
Yeah. And then like 2 years down the road, I imagine like their best case scenario is Bob is good for all 3 years, right? And in
You move
one of
at
those
the
3
deadline then?
years, maybe. But in one of those 3 years, Stolarz is moved aside. He either retires or the contract is up. I actually don't know how much he's got left on his deal. I could look
I'll
that
find
up.
out in a second.
3
You
more
keep talking.
years.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, they're going to
3
expire
years.
at the same time. But
No.
if
Bob is 2 more years after. So Bob is 3.
okay,
And then Stolarz is 4.
Stolarz is a very easily movable contract. It's under 4.
He has a 16-team no trade clause right now.
That's not too
Piece
bad.
of cake. Yeah, piece of cake. You got half the league you can trade him to if you need to.
Yeah, pretty much just the better teams in the league, and then minus a few others.
Yep. And like basically, I think the best case scenario they're hoping for is Bob is good for all 3 years, and Bob's last year. Okay, because I imagine Bob's going to be 40 at that point. He's going to be ready to retire, and Akhtyamov takes the reins, and they're set. It's been a long time since the Leafs have had a legitimate goalie that has come out of their system. Wool was the first, right? And it would be nice if they could, and it would be nice if they could get
well, you had
another.
You had this great goalie prospect that went on to have a Hall of Fame career that got traded away.
Yep.
What's his name? Rask? I think it's Rask.
I think so. And
then we had the starting goalie from the Team Canada World Juniors and the starting goalie from the Team USA World Juniors, and only one of them worked out. Okay, like goalies are legitimately voodoo. So once you've got one, okay, and it looks like they're going to be something, like I'm of the camp. You just let it ride, and it does feel like, at least in Chaika's case, he saw a wall, said this isn't it. Okay, moved off of him. Saw Hildeby, said this isn't it. Moved off of him because he saw Akhtyamov and said this is it. So that is ultimately the goal. Right now, the Leafs are over the cap by about 130 grand. So something's got to give there.
The KHL
so
nice.
Now,
Sorry,
granted, you can be
nice.
You can be 10% over the cap up until the season,
the off season,
and they're going to put Max Domi on LTIR probably. So that frees up another $3.75 million.
$0.75 million.
That's someone I've actually would like to have on the Islanders. I don't know if we have the cap space for that, but that's one I would like to have.
Well, you didn't pay for Anders.
How can Toronto just trade their 2C like that?
Probably because he shouldn't be a 2Z. He's great on the wing, honestly. He's and honestly, he would be perfect in a third line role. But like, I don't know what his health status is given the surgery complications that he had. Having a Domi in a blue and white jersey again was like, like it was amazing. And I genuinely hope that if it is like very bad, that he's able to take a year off and come back.
Actually, speaking about Domi, I completely spaced about it until I brought up Wikipedia and I saw his icon there. Mm-hmm. Do we know the status of it with his injury from what happened with the botched surgery from the sound of it?
Nope. And I imagine we're not going to get an update. Of
course, I would imagine, yeah. Well, there's a chance that people that you might have been spotted like around during training camps and stuff like that. Because there's stuff like, for example, the Islanders constantly coming out. We had a blue and white scrimmage a few days ago, 2 days ago. So I thought maybe he could have been spotted there. Obviously not playing,
I'm
but
tell you from other teams that I've seen, when there is a botched surgery, nobody opens their mouth about it until either the player usually when the player leaves the team. Like Tanner Pearson had a botched surgery in Vancouver, and I remember some of the players were pissed off about it. Quinn Hughes was notably pissed off about how the medical staff handled it.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do believe
nobody talked about the fact that it was a failed surgery and for a very long time about that.
Until Pearson left.
Yeah. I do believe the surgery that Domi got, it was his choice. Like he wanted to get the surgery. And in the history of the Leafs, I don't think they've had they have one of the best like health staffs in the league. That's one of the reasons why like Klingberg came to the Leafs, because he was just like, you got like, they were like, we can fix you, right?
He was
And
like a broken shell of a man. Yeah.
right, and then he just had like a really good season in San Jose. There's another guy that like doesn't have a deal yet that I'm really
Well,
surprised at.
yeah. I remember Klingberg looking good for Toronto until he got injured. Then.
Yeah, yeah. And so like, if there's a team to be on to rehabilitate with, it is Toronto. They can throw money around there.
So apparently there was an update. Yes, I'm
They're over
reading
the
through it
cap
quickly.
right now.
I'll tell you guys it, but there was apparently an update from Jukra yesterday.
Okay.
What I'll tell you right now is, reading through part of it, the surgery was a back surgery and left him partially unable to walk. Issue with walking afterwards.
Okay.
I haven't gone to the actual update itself. I was just giving background right now. Give me about 3 to 5 minutes, and I'll tell you what the update is.
Sure. So yeah, like they're going to be underneath the cap once they put Domi on LTIR, and I really hope he makes a full recovery and he is back, because a Domi in a blue and white, like not having a Domi in a blue and white jersey is just wrong.
And because refunds it based off of time paid, this time starting next season on LTIR will wind up refunding that cap hit for that little bit you're over top of it right now. So overall, you wouldn't need to waive anyone.
Right. Which would be, I mean, great. And I mean, he's the guy that answered the bell on Radko Gudas.
He's the type of person you want to keep around.
There's a couple players we've got now that
his father would have disowned him if he didn't want to doing anything.
Right. But like there's a few players now, like Teddy Bluger has an actual fight against Radko Gudas. You think Brendan DeHame isn't going to fight Radko Gudas?
Do we?
He absolutely will.
You know the best teams come together when teams overreact about one bad hit, right?
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Zach McEwen, and now Radko is back in Florida. Like,
oh god, 6 years, $1.5 million a year.
Yep. They just keep skirting NHL rules, but the NHL's okay with it because Campbell's involved with them. Whatever. I'm not bitter. The amount of animosity. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's a little bit of a nothing burger. Just that he'll be at camp and they'll have a better assessment of it after be at camp, but that he might miss the beginning of the season. So he's still working to develop, but he's apparently recovering well from the surgery. I'll put you the exact quote here in the chat. That way you can read it and get your own view of it.
Like if he does come back healthy, there will need to be a move, right? Because again, we are slightly over the cap.
If he comes back in December, then the cap will matter because you'll have that amount of his contract already refunded.
No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. If you start the season on LTIR, that's not how it works.
I thought it was just LTIR as a whole one of refunding that.
No, it's season open. There's a little thing if you notice, SOIR. Season opening on injured reserve compared to, ending up on LTIR. There's a big difference between the two.
All I know is like the active roster you put on the ice has to be underneath the cap, and with Domi healthy, they would be over.
My understanding for a long time is that like the cap is actually calculated on like a daily basis.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Be like year-long thing.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's why
what I was saying. And if he's not on the active roster. For the start of the season, that he goes over to active off of LTIR in November or December at some point, then they might not have had that cap payout for his salary, not his Simons, but just for his salary up until that point.
Oh, I, as a Caps fan, the 23-24 season, remember the Capitals having so many players on IR. I think Oshie started on IR, Mantha. It was just a mess. And
man, I miss
the goal is you want to get as high up to the cap as you can before putting players on season opening IR, because again, it's calculated by day. But if you put somebody on season opening IR, that adds to your cap. But that's your cap at the beginning of the year. So you want to get as close as you can. Like, let's say, what is it this year? 106.5 million?
104 million.
104 million. You want to get to like 103.99, whatever. I think the Capitals end up getting like within 85,000 of the cap that year. Then they put the guy on IR. What ended up happening is your cap isn't at 104 million. It's at $103,915,000 start the season because you're having someone start on open LTIR at the beginning of the year as opposed to starting the season, with a full roster. You are getting that cap bonus at the beginning of the year because that guy is going to eventually come back. This is a similar thing that happened with Marian Hossa, is that the Blackhawks tried to start him on LTIR, and that was a mess because the NHL said, no, you can't. He has to be on the active roster or use the SOIR designation. And that created an entire mess for the Blackhawks that year, if you guys remember.
I do remember something briefly about that.
And they were trying to hide guys in the AHL.
Right.
So that's how the cap works if you start with season opening IR.
Yeah, so they'll probably try and avoid that. In which case, they still need to sign Emil Andre, which they got in the deal with Philadelphia. Okay, they still need to. I doubt they signed Kalle Järnkrok with all of the bodies that they picked up. Yeah,
actually, with Emil, they don't need to sign. Oh no, he's arbitration eligible. Oh, they have to sign him. Oh, they're screwed.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they could wait until the season starts,
much, but you do need to get him signed. Yeah.
Yeah. They
he's
need
arbitration
to move.
eligible.
They need to move somebody.
What I was gonna point out is that if he was not arbitration eligible, you could wait until you could get your roster set day one of the season and then sign him the next day.
Oh yeah, they could just wind up waiving. They could just wind up waiving Zach McEwen for his $875,000 cap hit. He's 29. He's not like he's probably not going to be developing much more.
No, it really depends on the contract that Emil Andrade signs.
No, I understand, but I want to talk about the current situation right now. If they just need that little bit, he's middle towards his career. Maybe someone at that level may be towards the end of his career at this point. And
what I imagine happens is they waive Zach McEwen. Likely nobody picks him up. Maybe somebody does. Maybe somebody doesn't. That gets them underneath the cap with Domi on roster. Okay. They open up. They sign Andre so he can, after the fact, because they will then be underneath the cap, while they put Domi on LTIR.
The issue is that Andre is arbitration eligible, so the arbitration has to occur before the season starts.
Got it.
Not going to work.
So they're. I mean, they'll figure it out.
But going back to, let's move on from the Leafs.
Sure.
Going on to
I
players
think
getting
we
their
talked a lot
lunches.
about them. Yeah.
Players getting their lunches eaten. Like Babcock.
Oh yeah.
One item we didn't touch on last week.
I cannot believe they chose Babcock. Like, I still am in awe at not just at the Babcock signing, but also like Babcock. Like, I did nothing wrong.
Yeah,
he blamed his wife. He blamed his wife for leaving Columbus.
It's like it's
he didn't
as a
blame
player.
The wife. He said the wife told him like, "Oh, you should just leave."
I would imagine it's like from a player's perspective, you've just found out your team functionally just signed Darth Vader to be your head coach.
I'm going to point this out.
Not even that like your team signed Darth Vader, but like Connor McDavid and like Leon Draisaitl and like Zach Hyman were all like, hey guys, let's bring in Darth Vader.
I want to point out one thing, that when leadership, I'm putting this in quotes, was asked, it was McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman. The two other guys that wear A's on the team are Nugent Hopkins and Darnell Nurse, who just got shipped out to San Jose.
Right.
And Nugent Hopkins wears 93, which triggers Babcock for no reason at all. Like
I
Johan
cannot
Franzen,
wait to see what happens.
Mitch Marner, and now Nugent Hopkins. Somebody's getting a really nice center at the trade deadline.
Yeah. And Edmonton appears to have finally gotten their goalie? Question mark.
Maybe.
Or goalies
Trevor
plural?
Anderson is good though. Like again,
Not
it's
healthy.
just one of those like how old is too old for goalies? Nobody knows.
Yeah,
Well,
it
well,
kind of depends if he's
I
if
feel
he is
like-
healthy.
Yeah, I feel
One
I
thing
feel like
he
my
has-
rule of thumb is like 2-3 years a defenseman can stay over a forward generally, and then another 2-3 years a goalie can probably stay over a defenseman. Generally, it's the same
like,
way with
whoever
development
said
time.
about like if he's healthy, it's like that's the concern. Like when
Yeah.
you're older, you get injured more easily. And Anderson is a guy that's previously had injury issues too in the past.
He's had one season in Carolina where he played more than 50 games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you don't have to. So, like, again, Tristan Jarry isn't great, but can Tristan Jarry be great for 30 games?
I can't. I just went over to
Freddie can't play
Edmonton's.
50. Freddie's not playing 50 games.
Yeah,
I just-
well,
like,
then-
can we still talk about that Jarry trade? Like, what in the world is Stan Bowman thinking?
He was definitely hoping Jarry would be better in Pittsburgh. But like,
I-
okay, can you do 40 and 40, right?
Maybe.
Just like the
I mean,
Leafs,
I guess
right?
like even beyond that, like who even cares about the regular season if you're Edmonton for the most part, like right? Like it matters like where you get placed at for playoffs, and that's it.
You need a
like,
team save percentage to get you
Edmonton-
into the playoffs. Yeah.
That too, yeah. But it's like for Edmonton, it's cup or bust. For at least
Yeah.
for Connor McDavid, who is apparently the only guy that matters in Edmonton.
Yeah, and then if
so, like-
McDavid is gone, then Draisaitl is like going to be soon gone one way or another.
So
And
like,
then-
you can get like a goalie
No,
that gets you deep in the playoffs.
Draisaitl's locked
that's good.
down for 5 more years.
But so doesn't mean that he won't want to wind up getting traded out there and
Right,
make it publicly
because
about it.
we all know that players that
Yeah.
are signed long term in the NHL can't get moved, right?
Yeah. Right. But then they're making a bet on Devin Levi, which I think is, I mean, he's unproven, but I feel like that's a solid
That's
bet.
a much better bet in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah,
And, like, They signed Freddie to 1 year because I imagine unless Devin Levi blows them away in camp.
He's also 1 year and then goes RFA arbitration.
Yeah, but like he's probably going to start in the minors. Okay, but if he blows them away in camp, okay, then you get to waive Tristan Jarry.
Well, Tristan Jarry, he
Good
doesn't
luck.
have to protect it with it though. It's not. They're still going to be hit with that cap hit. I just went over to Edmonton's Puckpedia page. Do you know how much his cap is currently for this season next?
5.3 mil.
5.3.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there'll be a team out there that is willing to take, pardon the pun here, a flyer on Tristan Jarry.
So Lang, the reason
You
you,
think somebody
mentioned
would
why
take
would
that-
they
take that
trade?
cap hit?
Hold on.
Yeah.
You mentioned
Only
earlier
the most
why would
desperate
somebody-
deadline team.
So Lang, you mentioned earlier that Jarry got traded to Edmonton. Why did he do that? Jarry led the Edmonton Oil Kings to the Memorial Cup final.
Mhm.
God, what was that? I want to say 2014.
12 years ago, that kind of
Yeah, that lines
tracks.
up.
He's 31.
He's 31. Yeah.
Yeah. But he was like, he's from Edmonton area. Like he played there. Was it 2014? Yeah, it was 2014. They won the Memorial Cup. Oh, I think it was over Kelowna too that year.
I do feel Jarry's going to have like a
was
little
over
bit of
Portland.
a bounce back because like in Pittsburgh,
For his sake, I hope he does.
yeah, he was a 909 save percentage, okay, which is slightly above like league average. And Edmonton with league average goaltending, fantastic, right? They've got enough punch up the middle that they would be fine. The fact that in Edmonton he went down to an 858, that just says to me, like, you remember Grubauer, he would take time to settle in to a team. I think Jarry could be the same.
If we're being honest, I think like Stuart Skinner and like some of the previous Oilers goalies were like never great, but like I think that the issue with Edmonton is more just like a like seemingly like a lack of a commitment to play like the like full-fledged like 100% defense that you need. It's like it's not just enough to play defense in the NHL like 60% of the time or 80% of the time or even 90% of the time. Everybody in the NHL is good enough that the like 5% of the time that you feel like a little lazy, guys will punish you for that. And especially when you're going deep on a playoff run, like that's the kind of thing that you cannot afford to give up because teams punish that. It's just like I don't think the goaltending was never great. Yeah, but like
They
we're not talking
they
about
had
them
Cam
getting great
Talbot.
goaltending.
I always thought
Okay, Cam
Talbot was
Talbot, like
underrated.
Cam Talbot, 2016-17 season was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He led the league in wins.
There's another
And then-
goalie that I think Edmonton should go after.
Is this
who's that?
Matt Murray.
Cam Talbot? Sorry?
Murray.
5 games in the NHL last year with Seattle, .922 save percentage. If you get some sort of tandem and Matt Murray can give you 5 to 10 games of .922 hockey, you're smiling.
Well, you know,
All
there's one
Let's-
there's one goalie option I think that they could turn to if things turn really desperate. Jack Campbell.
Oh God,
still
there's a
paying
name I
him.
haven't heard in a while.
They are still paying Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
Is he still playing?
I think he's in the AHL.
Well, yeah, he would be in the AHL, but I'm wondering if is he even still playing?
They're paying him $2.6 million this season, and then for this upcoming season, and until 29-30, they're going to be paying him 1.5 for the seasons after that.
No, he was bought out.
Yeah,
He was.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think he played last year actually, so I guess not.
let me give the guy a
gone.
quick search. I'm curious.
He is retired.
Yeah.
He is now in coaching.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
But going back
Well,
to
actually,
Babcock,
you know who we're talking about coaching with? What team right now? Edmonton. There's a match there, surely.
Babcock,
They bring back Jack Campbell as a goalie coach.
Yeah, the last deal he
I'm-
signed was a 1-year deal with Detroit, and he didn't stick.
he ended up in Grand Rapids.
So not quite.
Do we
But-
want to place wagers on who is going to be Babcock's whipping boy in Edmonton?
Ooh.
With
I like this
Whipping
game.
Boy, or who's going to be reporting
that's a good idea.
effort for the different players.
I call Nugent Hopkins because he wears 93.
He loves Zach Hyman in Toronto, so that's not going to work. I'm pretty sure he liked Kasperi Kapanen in Toronto, so that's not
I
going
would
to
like
work.
to lock. I would like to lock in my answer. I'm going to choose Trent Frederick.
No, I think Trent Frederick, despite being like
Statham takes Trent Frederick.
Like I know he's like a veteran at this point, but like he doesn't do anything.
I'm going to say Matt Savoie. Young kid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I was like, my default immediately went to Darnell Nurse, but obviously they wind up trading him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. All of us have gone forward so far. So are you going
Oh,
to choose
Evan Bouchard. The guy is a defensive liability.
Wow.
Don't get me wrong. He
Yeah.
can put up points like a mother, like fantastic points. But
Are you changing your answer?
yeah, I'm changing my answer to Evan
was-
Bouchard.
shot.
I was leaning towards Bouchard, given his $10.5 million cap hit, but
Mhm.
Well,
it's.
don't
I
care
just
about the
don't know
cap
enough about him.
There are some crazy defensive lapses that he makes. Don't get me wrong, he is a fantastic offensive defenseman. But there are some strange decisions he makes in his own end that I'm sure Babcock is going to love.
We'll need to bring up this question again for when we are getting.
Well, and
For those-
here's
for the
the question though.
For the listeners who aren't aware, the Oilers ranker for our group is somebody by the name of Eating Ass Patties. So saying that preemptively before I wind up saying that name without context. I really want to ask Eating Ass Patties who he thinks would be when we hopefully get him on here and maybe in a few weeks.
So, Han, just to talk to like Lang for a second. Here's the thing about Bouchard though.
Mhm.
Is Bouchard close enough to like McDavid to be untouchable in the like eyes of Babcock? Because like Babcock's whole thing is that like he's not going to get to go after guys that he would get pushed back on if he's like a hard ass on. You know what I mean, right?
That's true.
Bouchard
However,
might be untouchable by that virtue.
there were guys in Toronto that were like, at least as a player, had that respect level, maybe not the contract, but the respect level that he would go hard at. I'm trying to remember. I forget the name off my top of my head now.
Did Spezza the first game they were playing?
Yeah,
Senators.
Jason Spezza,
He screwed him. He screwed him hard.
Against his hometown, or not the hometown,
the
but
team he started with.
the team he started with, like that. And I mean, what he did to Madonna. You don't think Madonna has more panache than Evan Bouchard?
I guess, yeah.
I don't think Babcock is scared about letting anybody
He
stand
did say
under
you have to
Coles.
go 100%. Babcock won't come if you aren't 100% on Babcock.
Yeah, and
It's all about the Babcock, as he refers to himself in third person.
That's right. Gosh,
you know he's a good person because he refers to himself in third person.
right. I cannot, looking back, and I mean, if you can't look back at your past self and cringe, you haven't grown. I look back at my past self and being so happy the Leafs got Mike Babcock. Holy shit. I remember his interview when there's just free agents, they don't want to come to Toronto. And he, with his stupid accent, goes, "They will." And I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm on the Babcock train.
Hold on. Lang, I have to tell you something really funny. You remember Matt Hunwick?
I do remember Matt Hunwick.
You know what's hilarious? He wore the A for the outdoor game, the Centennial Classic.
That doesn't surprise me.
There was another player that was supposed to be wearing the A in that game, and he didn't get it.
That also doesn't surprise me that Babcock would do that. I actually liked Matt Hunwick. He was a good 6D.
Yeah. I think it was it Morgan Riley wore the A. I think Leo was supposed to wear the A and he didn't get the A and he was mad about it. I was laughing. Somebody told me that Helmich wasn't supposed to wear the A for the outdoor game because they have the Centennial Classic jersey that he wore.
Right.
I was just like, wait, what?
There's also another pinnacle moment in the Leafs history where they could have turned it around. Somebody in that organization should have seen how Matthews got fired up for Matt Martin's fight and realized, oh, maybe we should get greasy.
Maybe you should keep him in the lineup and actually play him for a few games.
Crazy.
My
Anyway,
dad wound up saying to this day that the Leafs should not have gone after Tavares. What they should have done, if they had to take anyone from the Islanders at the time, they should have gone after trying to take Ryan Pollock.
Oh, a defenseman. Yeah,
for all the defensemen, and at that time, before the various health and concussion issues, I mean, I feel bad for how many concussions that Alan Pelech has wound up having, and we could say the same thing for Ryan Pollock. Leafs could have gone after him as well. They were the best shutdown defensemen in the entire league for their height. There was not a single player, whether it be the Penguins or the Oilers or the Leafs or any of the top teams, that they couldn't wind up shutting down.
I think looking back on all of that, they couldn't have predicted COVID.
Of course,
right? To look at it with that kind of lens, and maybe they realize. When Dubas realized that Marner, he wanted to trade Marner, the cap hit is high enough where he says, okay, I don't need to trade Marner. I need to get greasy. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, seasons later, we got, Domi and Ryan Reeves and who else?
Well, like I said, overreacting to perceived issue makes the best teams, right?
Right. And if they'd had the cap space when, Dubas was just like, oh, God, we need to trade Marner. If they have cap space at that time, the cap could continued going up. They would have been like, okay, we need to pivot a little bit, and they would have been able to.
Yeah.
And
I'm personally really happy you took that third string goalie from us. Was it Appleby or something like that? To wind up giving us Matt Martin back. That was one of the happiest days after Lou came in, was bringing us Matt Martin back.
Yeah, we would have been able to keep him if the cap had kept going up, and yeah. Anyway, off the Leafs, move on.
Sure.
I can talk for days.
On Babcock.
I mean, I feel like we kind of hit the Babcock topic pretty well.
Yeah. especially
actually,
with none of us being Oilers fans.
Yeah.
I feel like we've probably talked it out at this point.
Just gonna double back. It was actually Tyler Bozak that didn't get to wear the A in the outdoor game. Even though on Wikipedia, if you go on Wikipedia and look up the Centennial game, it says Bozak wore an A. He did not. It was originally registered that way. And Babcock's like, no.
Talk about another guy that went on to greener pastures. I'm glad he won a cup in St. Louis.
Yeah,
Alright,
but that was like Bozak's best year in Toronto. 55 points, career high.
So what other coaches and management change we've had recently?
Laviolette.
Lewis changeover.
Oh, yeah.
That's that really doesn't matter, right?
Sorry for which?
What?
St. Louis, the GM change, right? They
No.
officially changed over to like Steen now, but like
Yeah.
it didn't really matter, right? Because he was
Yeah.
involved all way before.
He was there the whole time. No, the big one I want to point out is Laviolette. Laviolette. They've already started bringing in Laviolette guys for the Kings. Beat reporter for the Kings was asking me, why the hell are they bringing Eric Gustafson? Spent all of last year in Grand Rapids. And I said, he had Eric Gustafson in Washington. He had Eric Gustafson in New York before he got fired. Now he's getting Eric Gustafson in LA.
I think the even funnier thing about LA, rather than just like the Lafayette thing, is that it's like the whole team is like half the team is so old, right? Like look at like the ages of like the Kings team, right? It's like Scott Loughton is like on the younger half of the team, I think.
Not
It's weird.
lying.
I don't
He's
think
32.
think of the Kings as like an older team at this point, but maybe they are.
Yeah, Panarin's
Like they went
34.
into like rebuild,
Well, yeah, it's another
but they brought, like,
Panarin,
a
but
lot of like UFAs and such.
Doughty's
They have Quentin
36.
Byfield,
well, yeah,
Alex
obviously Doughty.
Leferrier, and
then their goalies are
Grant
Kemper's
Clark
36.
as the only guys under 25.
Yeah, they've got
Three
three or
guys under
three or
25.
three or four guys that are like on the older side, but like I don't
No,
see
they
that as
they have a lot.
Yeah, Mikey Anderson's
34.
Maybe, like,
27.
so if you look at their defense,
Bart
aside from
Clark,
Grant,
35.
23. They got a few young guys, but it's definitely a little bit older.
Three young
older
guys
than I was
in
expecting.
the middle, and then a lot of over 30. You got Doughty over 30.
Oh,
Steve
Corey
over 30,
Perry as
Dumoulin
well.
over 30. Edmondson over 30.
Yeah, but I would say like the guys that are older, they're not.
Zuccarello. They got Zuccarello, 38 years
We're
old.
just
Yeah, but
staring
again,
at that.
one just
remember,
one year.
Zuccarello is the
Haula,
half guy that
35.
he usually is because he's not playing
Yeah,
with Kaprizov.
fuck that guy.
So.
Again, it's just one like 1 year deals on a lot of these. I'm not too worried about
Yeah.
the Kings' future. Interestingly enough, and you'd be able to speak to this, D, because Laviolette used to coach in Washington, but like he's obviously a lot more offensive minded than. No, he's not. Okay, so well then you've potentially got another 1-3-1 going on.
He did run a trap. It was I remember it was a lock, basically to pin the team against the board. It wasn't a 1-3-1. The thing with Laviolette is he does a heavy forecheck, where the first guy has to attack the blue liner with the puck.
I mean, that'll work with Trevor Moore, Alex Leferrier, Corey Perry, maybe.
You think Perry's fast?
No, but
No.
he'll go to the corner real quick. Like,
so what ended up happening?
Yeah, he knows the work
was
needs to get put in. That's the reason why he's been in the league for this long.
the Capitals.
Yeah.
What happened with the Capitals was they had so many injuries with Laviolette because he had the F1 basically attack the blue liner and force an error. Oh, Mantha got injured, Kuzi got injured, Backstrom got injured, Oshie got injured. Backstrom and Kuzi basically retired with us. Backstrom and Oshie retired with us. Kuzi essentially lost his mind. The cocaine could not get that dude functional.
So like he had a good time.
So you're saying his system just breeds a lot of injuries the way he wants to play.
It breaks down players. Like if you look at the Rangers, their first year they're really good because it's easy to do it the first year. The F1 with the high forecheck cause a turnover or an errant pass or an icing. But then the second year, team's like, okay, we know what's going to happen. We're going to run the F1. We're going to either skate around or we're going to have a short pass to somebody else because the other guys are going to be along the blue line. You'll be able, if you have someone nearby to do a short pass to, the F1 kind of gets stuck in no man's land, and then you're able to come down the ice 5-on-4. The issue with the Rangers was that it worked the first year, and then the second year when everybody wised up, and he didn't have a counter to it. That's why he lost the locker room, and the players were getting pissed off because, I'm going in hard. F1, I'm attacking the defender, I'm putting my body on the line, and we're still losing games.
Gotta hope that he's able, has adjusted.
He had the same system in Nashville, which was really good because he had 4 elite blue liners. They had Yossi,
Yep.
they had Subban, they had not Weber. Who was the other guy? Ellis, Ryan
Yeah,
Ellis.
because Subban and Weber were traded for each other.
Yeah.
And they had Ekholm at the time too, right?
Yeah, Ekholm. Yeah. So you can do that with really good fast blue liners because they're able to step up into those errant pass lanes and just pick it off and run back the other way.
Yeah,
And with the Capitals, he had that with our defensemen too. We had, Carlson, we had Gustafsson, who was really good at it. Faravari was another fast guy, but Faravari always had to cover Carlson's mistakes.
Yeah, the defense for LA doesn't scream speed to me.
Yeah. Not headed up with
that's
Drew Doughty.
Laviolette's system.
Right.
Even in Philly when he was there, F1 always attacking. And you guys had great defenders. I remember Pronger and Imanen was there. You guys had it, and the system worked. When people figured out the counter to it when he was in New York, it was like, okay, now what do we do? And it's like, you just got to jam him up. Just need some jam. Jam was his favorite word.
I do actually remember that part. Yeah.
Jam,
Use it
all the jam.
Time.
I can see, and he always has whipping boys. Like with the Capitals, he got Vrana shipped out of town. He got Siegenthaler shipped out of town. In Rangers, you had Kako shipped out of town. And who was the other guy? There's one other young guy that got shipped out during the 24-25 season.
4 or 5.
Yeah, because remember Kako, that was a huge one.
Of course,
right. Yeah.
It's I'm trying to think about who you're referring to. As I should trade him my hater card, maybe.
Yeah. They got Trouba. Trouba shipped out of town.
Well, yeah, but you said young guy. I don't think it's Trouba as a young guy.
Yeah. Filipino. They brought in JT Miller. Filipino.
Okay,
right.
there you go. Yeah, everyone was focused on the JT Miller side of it. Everyone forgot about who they sent out for him.
Yeah, Filipino and
Mr. No bullshit.
What's it? Victor Mancini. And then eventually they made the Ryan Lindgren and Jimmy Vesey. They shipped him out. Oh, he has, and eventually they got rid of Chris Kreider too. So he has whipping boys. Kuznetsov was another guy who he messed with so much that he ended up, going to the KHL. Mantle was another guy. Oh, with Laviolette, it's young guys, old guys. He'll get them kicked out if they don't want to play his system. With the Kings, it's interesting. I think the first year will be good, but then after that,
they come back down to
hard
earth.
to say. Yeah. But I think also teams are wiser now because they know that he's going to do the F1 to basically jam up the breakouts. So,
I mean, teams have also been studying the forecheck heavy teams a lot ever since Florida has been using it.
It's true.
It's like you can't not watch Florida win the Stanley Cup back to back and not be looking at the way that they're forechecking and having to learn about how to deal with it.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that you're good at dealing with it, but it's you had to have at least done the video work.
After losing to another team that also was big on forechecking with Vegas.
No, you know what's funny? Carolina and Florida basically were running the same systems 2 years, and Paul Maurice outclassed Rod Brindamore. Basically, because they were running the same system against each other, Maurice had the small change in tactics to be able to break out better than Brindamore could with the Hurricanes. But that's why they were all low-scoring games and one-goal games.
Yeah,
because Maurice could make just the little tactical changes. Brindamore couldn't until this year.
I will say, Paul Maurice is one of those guys that like back when he was in like Winnipeg, and I heard he got hired by like Florida. I was like, really him? But like I was wrong.
He's
Mhm.
a smart guy. He took the Hurricanes to the Cup, 2006, if I'm not mistaken, or was it
Yep.
2002?
No, 2000s. Like I'm pretty sure it was that year. If not, if Tim watches this, he'll be yelling at us for getting it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was 2002. He took the Hurricanes to the Cup in 2002. 2006 was the previous coach, Peter Laviolette.
Funny how it all comes back.
So,
All right, another
yeah,
management changes that we should mention, or just more
big
just regular run of the mill.
I mean, I feel
Well,
like
I mean-
we should really like talk a bit more about the offer sheet beyond what we did earlier.
Yep.
I will just bring up one item. Vancouver changed their front office, and
Yeah, that was a long time coming. They have the Sedin twins now involved.
yeah,
That's good for
they
them.
fired Alvin. They brought in Ryan Johnson, who he's actually a former Canuck player. And he was managing the AHL team. And then they brought in, Manny Malhotra as the coach, and then drafted his son 3rd overall.
The one thing I will say actually with like the Malhotra and son thing is that Vancouver has in the past had like messy divorces with their coaches, right? Like remember the Bruce Bordeaux firing?
Yep.
And it's like if you're drafting like Caleb Malhotra at like 3rd overall, you want him to be staying for a while. And like the whole like we're a family here, like family here could be a good thing to build loyalty, but like if you ever part with Manny Malhotra like in a messy like fashion, that could end up having like a blowback effect on the player then too.
I mean, if you want to talk about like messy divorces when it comes with coaches in Vancouver, your prime example is Michael Keenan.
Oh God.
Well, yeah, but that was like a little bit longer ago, which is why.
Sure,
I'm
just
like,
it's the number one thing that comes to mind.
I have a recent example. Winnipeg, when they had Pierre-Luc Dubois, his father was coaching in the AHL at the time. When Maurice stepped down, his father was brought in as one of the assistant coaches. And Winnipeg Jets went with who did they go with?
Was it Bonus that they hired at then?
No, there was an in between.
Oh, you mean like as an interim?
Yeah. So after Maurice, it was Dave Lowry. And Dave Lowry had PLD's son. Or not his son, his dad. PLD's dad on the staff. So this is Adam Lowry's dad and Pierre-Luc Dubois' dad, both on the staff. And 21-22, everything's good. 22-23, they go to bonus. Dubois not happy. I don't believe. Lowry was happy. Lowry sucked it up like an adult. Now Dave Lowry's in Calgary, and Pierre-Luc Dubois' dad is coaching in. Where is he coaching?
Yeah, just looking over at Vancouver's roster right now. Yeah, I think you're right that Vancouver could be a good place because they got so many of their players, low contracts and relatively, but so many of their players are expiring contracts after this season that if they want to just like let things go, move things at the trade deadline, and just completely blow everything up with what they have like Ellis Pettersson, Brock Besser around, signed for a while. They have Philip Hunker signed for a while, and then they have their goaltenders are pretty set as of right now, but they can do a lot of stuff, especially with their forward group.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
I mostly just like brought up the Vancouver topic because I was like, the whole like choice with Caleb Malhotra at 3rd in conjunction with making his father the coach just feels like it's risking a blowback in the future.
Potential.
And I'm not sure if that's a great move or not.
And that's why I brought up Pierre-Luc Dubois. His dad, Eric Dubois, was an assistant coach after Paul Maurice left. And then when they went with bonus, he didn't have that good a year. No, he had a good year, but he wanted out. He ends up in LA, doesn't have a good year in LA, and then gets shipped to DC. And now
Where he's finally kind of made himself into something.
Yeah. And now the Kings have lost 3 centers in the past 3 years.
Definitely a situation we'll have to watch.
I don't want to insult the Kings too much because I feel bad for like Kings fans, but like they've not been like they've not done a ton over the last few years. I've thought very positively about.
Do you know who their GM is?
Well, they changed from Blake, right? Who's the new one?
Yeah. And Holland.
Oh, is it Ken Holland now? Yeah, that's right.
And
I remember
Holland.
that.
He's made some very questionable choices.
All right,
I
let's
can't believe Ken
in
Holland has made
Edmonton.
questionable choices.
let's
right.
wrap it up here.
Well,
All right.
let's get to the offer sheet and then
Yeah, just talk about a little
Well,
more
Hank,
info.
first of all, what an off season, am I right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
It's the
it's
most
Fun to watch the drama.
Let's
the
just do
most
this
money
again
thrown
next year,
around in
dude.
ever.
I am simultaneously both happy and disappointed that the Islanders have not been involved too much in any of this. I'm disappointed because like it's nice to be fun and exciting to see what's going on, but I am always terrified with my trauma history to do with my team of horrible decisions and horrible moves happening.
Well, like, I realize that we're both in the same division with the Flyers and Islanders,
Yeah.
but like, I think that the Islanders were like overperforming last year simply based on the fact that Schaefer was like insane
Sure,
and like
everyone
dragged them
admits that.
up with him. So if I were them, I would not be like making like a ton of like UFA moves unless there was just a deal too good to like pass
Well,
up.
my point being is like they could have brought in a bad contract or two for a year to wind up moving other pieces away for either picks this season or picks next season. I'm just worried that it could wind up leading us with a anchor contract that we can't move for 4 years for $10 million. And it's someone that we don't like on the team. I don't want someone to come in and be the next Andrew Ladd that we're stuck with for forever because of some bad decision, and now it's something we have to sit with and deal with for forever.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be worse.
Yeah.
You guys just signed Vitek Vanacek. I have no idea why.
That's a name I haven't heard for a while.
Like this,
I've
just
heard it.
happened since we started.
It was today, I think. Let me check. He signed it July 1st, actually.
Okay, I haven't looked at all the different details for what we want to do. And there was like, yeah, we don't have the cast space to go after some big names. So big names.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's July 1st, $1 million. 1 year. Yeah, if they want someone to fill that spot and to be competitive to help push younger players forward, sure. But $1 million, you waive that, you get that entire cap space back. The way I look
he
at
won
it,
a cup in Florida.
Sure, but it's like the way I want to looking at it. Oh yeah, this is because with him being a goal, that's because we don't know what Varley is going to be back or not, and how well he's going to be doing. And we didn't wind up re-signing what's his name for this upcoming season. So it was meant to be a goalie position that would be fine being a third string goalie in the AHL, or if need be, if Varley's not there yet because he only played the one game in the AHL, because he wasn't eligible to play in the playoffs in the AHL. It's who he looked great playing that game. It's can we have someone else to be the backup for Ilya? And like I said, you can waive it and you pretty much get that cap back.
Yeah.
I think it's like you get, at least this is going from a few years ago. I think if you waive a contract, you can get up to $1.25 million in cap relief for anyone you send down to the minors. Unless there's some contract clause about it that says otherwise. So anyone under that limit, I don't care how many of them we signed, as long as I don't care how many of them we signed, because we always can waive them if we don't need them anymore.
So it's the league minimum salary plus $375,000. That's the buried threshold.
There you go.
Yeah. Assassin, your off season.
So if we had recorded this before today, which is again July 3rd for everybody that forgot, I would have said like everything made sense, but it was all pretty disappointing. Like the Flyers were in on Zach Werenski because like they need at least one of a 1C or a 1D to really make themselves a clear like threat, and they didn't have either. So like Zach Werenski made sense, and like I get that things settled down and he's staying there, and so nothing happened. But like nothing happening doesn't make you feel better about the team, right? They made like good offseason moves in terms of like they didn't make any bad deals or anything, but like nothing that was really exciting. And then today happened, and we got the offer sheet, which is like everything Flyers fans have been dreaming of. Because it's like a once you potentially, it's against Anaheim, which is like, Danny Briere must hate Anaheim, dude, or something like that, right? He's like taking like all their young players, and even if they keep Carlson now they're going to be like screwed on their cap.
No, they'll
Like,
be fine on their cap. They still have 11 million.
well, no, so they have 35 million before this offer sheet, and so this offer sheet is for 18 million for Carlson. They have Cutter and Mintyukov both to sign still, and they would only be at like 6 defense still anyways. But the point is that Cutter has got to be making something like 10 million or something like that. And this now makes them vulnerable to a offer sheet for Mintyukov, first of all, this offseason. And this is now going to affect how they handle Seneca next offseason.
The Flyers.
Like yes, for the Flyers though, this makes a ton of sense. Like they will need to move some money out then in order to re-sign Zegras, who technically is offer sheet vulnerable, yes, but Zegras loves it in Philly. Drysdale they've already agreed to terms. It's just not been signed yet. Like it's like 6.25 for like 4 or 5 years, I think.
Okay.
So Drysdale is safe, and I feel safe about Zegras in the sense that both he's incredible friends with Cam York and Jamie Drysdale. He's loved it in Philly and he hated it in Anaheim. So I don't feel like there's a vulnerable offer sheet target in Zegras right now. So it gets Flyers what they need, which is a 1C. You give up cap space, yes, which is a problem. It's definitely an overpay. And you go up the 4 first, but like I said earlier when I was asked, like, I think the Flyers are fine giving that up. Honestly, if Anaheim matches, it'll be disappointing for all the Flyers fans. And you still have to solve the 1C problem elsewhere then.
Yeah.
But it's ultimately, it's not harming you. It's just that you really wish that would have like succeeded then.
Yeah,
For
you saw
Anaheim,
an
though, I think
opportunity
this is, like,
and you jumped on it.
Yeah, I think for Anaheim, this is like an awful situation. Like this is all entirely Pat Verbeek's fault. Like I saw some Anaheim fans blaming Carlson for this. It's like no, this is your GM's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the reporters said today he stopped negotiating with the RFAs after like the midpoint of the season. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
And everybody knows that like Verbeek is like the like worst negotiator you've ever had to work with, right? Like obviously like the players would be happy to get back at him when he makes them argue for like every single dollar that they want, right?
All right, finish us off, Mike, with your one thing funny about the Isles.
So we re-signed Tony DeAngelo, unfortunately, for 2 years, but it came with a no trade clause for 3 teams. I don't think I've ever seen a no trade clause for such a small list of teams before. But I think it's a pretty
teams.
Just 3 teams, not 10 teams, not 16 teams, not like 30 teams, 3 teams.
Okay.
That's the one funny thing. One funny thing I didn't bring up. Anyway,
do we know what those 3 teams are?
I think you could take a pretty good guess about which 3 teams it would be.
Probably the teams that he's been on.
Yeah, the Rags, the Hurricanes, and the Flyers would be the 3 that come right to mind for him.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want Tony DeAngelo back, so that's fine with us.
Oh, I imagine it's mutual. It's such an unnecessary detail there because I don't think it would ever happen for any of those 3 teams. But it's funny that it's there. Anyway, so thank you guys for coming to Want to Watch the ICA podcast. This is our longest episode yet with power issues. I already know what the I already know what the title for this.
That I led us on so many tangents. It's gonna be great.
Hey, I loved it. I already know what the title for this is going to wind up being. Trying to keep the power on edition.
Because we're not making any money off of it. I get it.
Well, yeah. Well, we're burning money with the worth of our time. Like we were joking before we started. And well, thank you guys for coming around. Assassin, anything you want to pimp or just nothing?
Not necessarily. I'm just happy to be able to talk about the Flyers and not talk about them in a bad manner. Finally, now they were in an awful spot for several years to the point that like Flyers fans just didn't care, and I'm happy that we're the chaos team again.
I feel that.
I understand that too. Thank you for coming
on.
on.
What are you talking about? The Leafs have been good for years.
How many cups? It's only a matter of time when the parades are going to be planned.
Right, exactly.
All right, thank you guys for coming on.
I want the Leafs to go back to being bad. There's a direct incentive for me as a Flyers fan.
It's true.
Yeah.
Top 10 pick.
Thank you guys for coming on. Thank both of you, Lang and Dee, for always being here as always. And thank all of you for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day.